The man who drives this number 17 Chevy Lumina is known to and loved by millions of stock car fans. He's three-time Winston Cup champion, 44-year-old Darrell Waltrip. The past 2 years voted NASCAR's most popular driver. But popularity contest won't earn you a position on the grid. This is what he'll see from his 18th starting position. He and everyone else will be chasing from the pole a man they have never chased before. He drives this bright yellow number 30 Pennzoil Pontiac out of the Bahari Racing Stables. Friday afternoon, 97 degrees. He covered this 1 mile oval in 15 seconds, over 143 miles per hour. On his 160th try, 28-year-old Michael Waltrip, Darrell's little brother, won his first ever Winston Cup pole. A milestone in your career you'll never forget.
Well, it's a big part of what we do. You know, we try to win races and we try to win poles. And winning a pole is difficult. You've got to be the fastest for one lap. You know, you almost need to be perfect to do it. And it took me 160 times to be perfect, but I finally did it. So we're looking forward to the race.
What is the setup today as compared to qualifying?
We haven't changed a thing. I've got the same springs and shocks and gear and everything as we qualified with. We put a different engine in, but there's really no difference in the two. This one's just as strong as the other. So if we can get the handle on the Pennzoil Pontiac, we pushed a little bit yesterday in practice. It's a little hotter today. If we can get this car handling the way we want it to, we'll be in good shape.
Go get him, young man.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Hi, Kyle. Happy birthday. Have a good day watching me win this race.
He's talking about Kyle Petty, who turns 31 today, and I have a feeling this young man may someday be NASCAR's most popular driver. Not only does Michael have to contend with 34 of the best racing drivers in the world, but also the fearsome Monster Mile. TNN Motorsports proudly presents live flag-to-flag coverage of the Budweiser 500. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Evans. Michael Waltrip knows he will have instant competition when the green flag drops, because outside of row number 1, the 1989 Winston Cup champion, number 2, the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac, Rusty Wallace. We all know how Rusty attacks a track, but he's never won here at Dover, much like the man that Glenn Jarrett is with right now.
Well, the fellow that I'm sitting here with, or standing next to, is Rick Mast, driver of the Skoal Classic Oldsmobile. Rick has never won a Winston Cup race before, but he's certainly no stranger to victory lane here at Dover. He got his first Super Speedway pole here, and his first Busch Grand National win came here at Dover. You got to feel good about your chances today, Rick.
Well, Glenn, I'm starting third. The last time I started third at Dover, I won the race. My first win I got here. My first pole I got here. I love this racetrack. It's my best qualifying effort ever. You know, we'll just have to see how it goes. You know, we've been doing well in practice, well in qualifying at a few of the racetracks. We've been off a little bit the last half of the race, but, you know, we're gaining on it. Each week we're getting more consistent. I think before long you're going to see the Skoal Classic O's in the winner's circle.
Certainly wouldn't surprise me to see that happen today. And my compadre, Brock Yates, is standing by with another fellow looking for his first win.
Thanks,
Brock?
Glenn. With me is Alan Kulwicki, Glenn, and he will start on the outside of the second row. Alan, of course, a really unique man in Winston Cup competition. He's an owner, driver, wrenches his own automobile, and not only that, runs very quickly at Dover. He set the qualifying record for the Budweiser 500, in fact, still holds it. But this race does not necessarily go to the quickest man, Alan.
No, it's about a 4.5-hour race. It's tough on the cars and the drivers because the turns are so banked. There's a lot of force on you. It's tough on engines, and you have to be there at the end. This is probably going to be one race where there will be some attrition, and you've got to stay out of trouble. First and second turns a little treacherous up high, so a lot of things can happen. Our cars, the Hooters Ford Thunderbird's running real good, and we're optimistic. We're looking for a good day, but, you know, it's the last 100 miles that are going to count.
Okay, all the best. The dash for 100 miles for Alan Kulwicki and all the rest of the guys. Steve Evans.
Okay, you have met our pit personnel. NASCAR is just about ready to rumble this field, so let's go upstairs and meet the boys in the booth, led by play-by-play expert Mike Joy.
Thank you, Steve, and hello, everybody. At stake in Delaware today, $600,000 in prize money, 180 Winston Cup points to the winner, and all the prestige of victory. But that's not what's on these drivers' minds. To do well at Dover requires driving to survive. For 500 miles here is tougher than 600 at Charlotte, or Darlington, Bristol, Talladega, or anywhere else on this circuit. And the two fellows that'll join me topside to call this race know well the frustrations and the joys of success at this racetrack. First, Bill Parsons, you were telling me, much to Buddy's laughter, that you like driving this racetrack.
Well, I do like this racetrack because it's tough. You got high bank corners, bank straightaways, you charge the corners. But it's a challenge for a driver. Any racetrack that's a challenge, to me, a driver enjoys.
Buddy Baker, who's best known for putting his foot down at Daytona and Talladega and keeping it right on the floor. This was not one of your better racetracks.
No, you could say that. No, I ran quite well here several times. I had, I guess, 3 third-place finishes. I led the race right down to the very end 2 or 3 times. I had an engine lockup with 4 laps to go, leading the race, and had a real good shot of winning. But, you know, the racetrack never was really good to me. I had bad luck here a lot of times. I created a lot of bad luck, and I think I've hit the wall here about as hard as I have any racetrack I've ever run at. So, no, it wasn't my favorite.
But it is certainly demanding. Is it more physical or mentally punishing here?
I think it's more physically punishing. There's a lot of mental tough racetracks, but this is a physically tough one because, as I said earlier, because of the bank turns, the bank straightaways, you never get time to relax.
Were you wore out physically or mentally at the end of the day here?
I can't remember. I think I had a little bit of both.
Okay. It'll be quite a day of racing here at Dover Downs. Stay with us. TNN's live exclusive coverage of the Budweiser 500 is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. By New Haviland Formula 3 motor oil. Add more life to your car. By Goodyear, the choice of more racing champions than any other make of tires. By Ford and your Ford dealers. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Kodak Gold Film. Show your true color. They are mounted up and race ready here at the Monster Mile. Stay with us. The largest single-day sporting event crowd in the state of Delaware is packing in to Dover Downs International Speedway in record numbers to see the Winston Cup stars battle it out on the Monster Mile. It's been a hot couple of weeks on the Winston Cup Tour as Steve Evans shows us in this Haviland Race Series update.
Last week in Charlotte, Davey Allison's winning ways continued while a war of words with Dale Earnhardt began heating up. Earnhardt accused NASCAR of playing favorites with Allison's Ford, but those weren't the only sparks flying on the racetrack. Lap 209, Alan Kawicki gets into the wall. Then, on lap 265, Terry Labonte makes contact with Bill Elliott, sending the Coors number 9 spinning into the infield grass. Great driving by Elliott to get things gathered up. On lap 385, Richard Petty, fighting for 7th place, hits the turn 4 wall. Richard was taken out on a stretcher, but was okay. Same could be said for the 43 car. Kenny Schrader would edge out Dale Earnhardt for 2nd place, and it was Davey Allison who led 264 out of the 400 laps, cruising to his first points win of the year. Dale Earnhardt continues to lead the Winston Cup points, followed by Ricky Rudd, Darrell Waltrip, Harry Gant, and Davey Allison rounding out the top 5.
Well, starting right beside of Davey Allison on the outside of the 6th row is Hut Strickland, who drives a car owned by Bobby Allison, obviously Davey's father. This team has been running great of late, and Hut Strickland, I'm sure that you're probably ready to take that first trip to victory lane.
Well, we really are, Glenn. You know, all the guys have really been working hard on the Ray Bestis Brakes Tic-Tac Buick for me, and, you know, it's just been a good deal for me, you know, to get with a good group of guys like I got here. And, you know, our engine program has really come around a lot this year, and, you know, it seems like we got a lot of good success going for us right now.
Folks, this guy has been running great of late. Look for him to run up front all day today. Now let's go a little further up pit road to Brock Yates.
Well, Glenn, as you well know, NASCAR has been extremely concerned about pit safety for the last year or so, and they've made some major modifications here at Dover. First of all, they've widened pit lane about 4 feet. You can see that this pit wall has been moved back to give everybody a little bit extra room, about 43 feet on the pit lane, so it's still quite narrow. More importantly, though, they have set a speed limit here on pit lane, both coming in and going out of the pits at 40 miles an hour. Now, how are they going to do that? These race cars don't have speedometers. On the pace lap, the pace car will lead the cars down pit lane, Everybody is going to be down in second gear. They'll watch the tachometers, about 4,500, 4,800 RPM in second gear. That will be the speed. Everybody comes in and uses the pit. They got a radar gun up here to make sure everybody behaves. And I'll tell you what, Dick Beatty and the boys, they will make people behave. Right, Mike Joy?
You bet, Brock. Buddy, I'll bet you got a speeding ticket or two in your time, but I'll bet you never got one on a racetrack.
Well, I tell you, it's a real hard thing to go out and run as hard as you have to run here and then come in the pits and govern yourself to come in that slow. I mean, you fight for a quarter of a second, a tenth of a second, a thousandth of a second, and all of a sudden you're in trouble.
Here's Melvin Joseph, the board of directors, a member of the board of directors of Dover Downs. And as he does for every event here, gives the command that will fire off this field of Winston Cup stars. 35 drivers on the starting grid for this, one of the most difficult tracks on this circuit. Mike Waltrip, his first career pole position. The track is exactly 1 mile in length as measured by NASCAR. A traditional 4-turn oval. But look at the banking. Not just 24 degrees on the turns like at Rockingham, but the straightaways are banked 9 degrees, both sides. A very symmetrical racetrack. But as we've seen this weekend, turns 1 and 2 seem to drive a little differently than 3 and 4.
Well, they really do, Mike. From what people have told me, there's cracks in the surface, and they put tar in the cracks to take up the space, and that's given people a lot of trouble.
Here's a look at the starting lineup with the 2 Pontiacs up there on the front row. We've heard from the front 4 as they line up. Mark Martin holds the absolute speed record at this racetrack. Ernie Irvin, who came within 4 laps of winning yesterday. More on that later on. There's the Intimidator Earnhardt back in the 5th row. The Alabama gang in row 6. Back in row 8, Kenny Wallace in for Kyle Petty. Bill Elliott, Darrell Waltrip. Look at the veterans back there in rows 9 and 10.
I really look for somebody to make a move out of those rows. 9 back to about 12. I think someone will make a move early in the race.
Derek Cope, defending winner of this race. Ted Musgrave, that's Tommy Ellis in the Flossie Johnson car, carrying 97. Marcus Hillen starting the Jimmy Means car, number 52, to keep him up in the driver points. Richard Petty qualified 31st. His son Kyle turns 31 today. And J.D. McDuffie, who's run all but 1 event. He failed to start only 1 of the 43 events here at Dover Downs. Richard Petty starts his 43rd race at Dover. He's the only driver to compete in every single one of them here. Warming the engines on pit road, and we're told the 3rd time by will be the green flag. We talked to a number of drivers about how tough and demanding this racetrack is and how they like racing on the Monster Mile. Here are some of their comments.
What Dover really means to me is being able to drive like an animal and not have to worry about it. You know, you don't have to save anything here. I can drive as hard as my heart desires and not have to worry about wrecking the car.
Well, I tell you, this is the racetrack that puts a lot of centrifugal force against our bodies, and the biggest thing here is holding your head up all day, and we build neck supports and things like that that we can rest our head against during the race, and that's usually the toughest.
Well, one thing you feel when you go out on it's just black. You know, it's high banked, and you go down in the corner, and you just see all kinds. You think there's a lot of room. But really, there's not. You know, they've put a lot of sealer on this track. There's a lot of road maps up high on the racetrack.
I don't know. It's a tough face to race. Everybody sort of gets intimidated by it, but I get pretty pumped up for it. I enjoy racing here and looking forward to it.
I love Dover Downs Speedway. It's suited to my style of driving. You got to drive your car hard all day, and 500 miles, you got to get your car working so you can drive it hard in the corner. If you can do that all day, you'll be at the end.
Well, the quickest way I know to tell you is find the biggest roller coaster in the world and ride it for 4.5 hours, and that pretty well explains it.
And that's what they'll do today. We'll be back for the start of the Budweiser 500 right after these messages. For 500 miles, 500 laps around Dover Downs. And you'll be riding along today inside 3 of these Winston Cup cars. With our TNN in-car cameras. As we look at the field one more time up at turn number 3. Running there right behind Dale Earnhardt. That's the Hut Strickland car. The Bobby Allison Buick. coming around, and you'll see him face the green flag. Staff Sergeant Lawrence Kirby from the nearby Dover Air Force Base puts them under green. And it's Mike Waltrip on the break from Rusty Wallace. That's inside Hut Strickland's car as he duels Ricky Rudd.
Looks like Mikey's going to lead that first lap. See Ernie Irvin up on the high side. We haven't seen many cars able to run up on the high side this weekend.
Watching from Davey Allison's car as he runs along with Earnhardt and Ernie Irvin.
Michael told me, he said, this may not be a storybook start, but I'm going to be leading on the first lap.
Okay. He did just that. Give the first lap to Mike Waltrip. And now you're with Ricky Rudd, running right behind Davey Allison. Tight pack of cars, and you see how quickly they go to single file here. Now there's Irvin dropping inside the Rick Wilson car. As on the short track at Martinsville, you pass here going inside and a little bump and thump.
Rick Wilson didn't want to be too far outside, so they got all too close together.
Mike Waltrip leading. Kenny Wallace drifting way back in the field in a Felix Sabates car.
It's not that the car is running bad. He just got on the outside groove there, and it's much slower, and you just go right to the rear if you can't get back in line.
You know, the race we watched yesterday, Mike, I've never seen a second groove not worked in like yesterday. I mean, yesterday it was basically a one-groove racetrack the entire race. Hopefully today they can get a second groove worked in so we can see some good side-by-side racing.
They have completely resealed the asphalt here at Dover Downs, and they've got that low groove worked in with plenty of practice here over the 3 days, but there have not been that many drivers racing in the upper groove, and nobody has been up in the Harry Gant groove this weekend, at least not by choice.
I don't think we'll see anybody in the Harry Grant groove today unless they're in big trouble.
Pontiac, Oldsmobile, and Ford at the front of the field, running just about the way they qualified. Mike Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, Rick Mast in third, Alan Kulwicki in fourth.
Got Dale Earnhardt taking a look inside Harry Gant. There he is.
That's for sixth place, and hello, how are you? Earnhardt to sixth, Ernie Irvin to seventh. That'll drop Gant, who came within about 15 laps of winning yesterday, back to seventh. Make that eighth place for Harry Gant, just ahead of Davey Allison. There's a look at Harry from the in-car camera in Davey Allison's car.
You know what this reminds me of, Phil? It's like Talladega without the draft. You see the guys in the groove, and the guy gets out, he goes straight to the back.
Exactly.
And to me, it reminds me of Martinsville twice as big. Because if you don't run down on the bottom, you're not running anywhere. You're going right to the back.
See, Harry looks like he's either a little bit too tight or he's trying to work in a second groove.
If there's a way to get to the top of the racetrack here, Harry Gant will be the one to find it.
Well.
7 laps in. Mike Waltrip leading Rusty Wallace. They've got about 2 car lengths on the Rick Mast, Alan Kulwicki battle. Mark Martin has now moved up into the 5th spot. In 6th is Earnhardt, 7th is Irvin, 8th is Gant, 9th Allison, and 10th Rudd.
I'll tell you, Mike, I talked to several of the crew chiefs this morning, and they said, look out for that 6th car, Mark Martin. They said he was the fastest car here yesterday afternoon.
He's pulled right up on the deck of Alan Kulwicki in the Hooters Ford. Here's Kulwicki going after Rick Mast. Kulwicki's been fast coming out of the corner each time there in the backstretch, but Mast seems to have the measure of him at the end of the straightaway. That race is for third on back. Mast in the number 1 car in third. Rusty scooting up the racetrack a little bit. And he is right back into that battle. Earnhardt on the inside. There's Davey Allison lost touch with that group. The battle is just ahead of him for second on back.
Well, Dale Earnhardt was able to get by Mark Martin, and he took, I think, Davey Allison with him, or Ernie Irvin with him.
Kulwicki tries the bottom again on Rick Mast, and nothing there. Nothing but Earnhardt filling up his rearview mirror.
You know what I see? Earnhardt drives so hard off into the corner. He's making his move before he gets to the corner on the bottom side, so he keeps that track position.
Earnhardt in 4th place. Now Rusty's open. He gained back a little ground on Rick Mast there at second position.
I think he just slipped in that corner. He got up a little bit high, a little bit out of the groove, and he just lost that much ground. Now he's able to take away from Rick Mast again and try to catch Michael Waltrip. Here's Alan Kowicki on the inside of Rick Mast for third.
Kowicki is finally going for it and makes the pass.
Look who's with him.
Here's Earnhardt trying to get under Kowicki.
Side by side.
There's not much love lost between these two. They've had a couple of on-track.
Kowicki wanted the inside line there, as you could tell, Mike.
And he insisted on it. He's one fellow Earnhardt doesn't much intimidate.
Now Dale Earnhardt passing on the outside.
Well, in 3 days of racing and practice, I don't think we've seen anybody passing on the outside, and Earnhardt makes it work.
You know he's fun to watch.
Absolutely. That moves Earnhardt up to third, behind Mike Waltrip and Rusty Wallace. He's about 3 seconds back of the lead duo as we ride with Davey Allison. Davey, you hear him back in the throttle and then feather it a bit right on the bottom of turn 4.
It's a very, very sharp exit to that corner. The unique part about this racetrack is when you get in trouble coming off the corner, it really happens in the middle of the corner. And that's where experience comes in. In the middle of the corner, if you realize you got trouble, then you squeeze back out of the throttle to get the car settled down. The people without experience don't know enough to do that, and they're really in trouble when they come off the corner.
Mike Waltrip and Rusty Wallace now lead Earnhardt by about 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, it was a good thing they kind of broke up that dogfight they were having in that second group, or Mike Waltrip and them would have been gone. I'm telling you, when you race side by side, you can close up in a hurry. I mean, they just drive away from you.
Rusty keeps trying the Pennzoil Pontiac. Tire smoke out of Waltrip. There's Rusty.
I think that tire smoke, Mike, is just from that sealer, because they haven't worn much of that sealer off. You saw Michael there back off and let Rusty go down the corner, because Rusty had the bottom, and that's definitely the way to go through turn 1, at least right now.
Nobody's told Earnhardt that. He's just passing when he gets to him.
So at 16 laps, the lead changes hands. From Wallace, Mike Waltrip in second. Lapping J.D. McDuffie. Dale Earnhardt in third now, closing in on the lead duo. Alan Kowicki in fourth, Ernie Irvin in fifth. Mark Martin running behind Irvin, then Harry Gant, then Rick Mast. Davey Allison in ninth, Hut Strickland in 10th. Rick Wilson stands 11th, Ricky Rudd in 12th. And Brett Bodine, Bill Elliott, and Kenny Schrader. Good battle there for fourth spot. Trouble in the back straightaway. One car loose and around and sliding against that inside retaining wall.
That's Dale Jarrett. I seen him get loose way back in the middle of the corner. As a matter of fact, I pointed it out to you. You thought I was talking about the race that was going on, but I seen him get sideways way back in the center of the corner.
Short day for the Citgo Ford.
That could be an example, Mike, of getting trouble in the middle of the corner and the result being off the corner. But Dale has enough experience that he must have gotten some serious trouble in the middle of the turn.
I've noticed something. When they go up on the outside in 1 and 2, it's much more severe than it is in 3 and 4. It seems to be a wider groove in 3 and 4, but when they go high in 1 and 2, they really get out of it.
I think, buddy, if we'll get a shot maybe of turn 1, there's some cracks that run parallel to the racetrack, and it's just above the bottom lane. And I think that's why you have more trouble in 1 and 2 than you do in 3 and 4.
That's what one of the drivers described as being a road map, the way that sealer there. You can see the asphalt sealer up into the grooves, and it looks kind of like a road map.
It's about 7 or 8 feet up from the white line, and that's where you would want at least your left side tires if you were on the outside line. Right. You can stay below it on the inside line. That's a good shot of it right there, because it's really just about parallel to the racetrack.
Morgan Shepherd comes to the pit lane. So does Jimmy Spencer and Tommy Ellis. Here's Steve Evans.
Well, they are poised and ready on pit road, even though this yellow came very early in the race. In comes the 97 car. Tommy Ellis driving for Flossie Johnson. We see Kenny Wallace bring the Kyle Petty number 42 car in.
We are currently standing in the pits of Brett Bodine, and the Quaker State team is also standing by with tires and fuel. Would you recommend Buddy Baker coming in this early on the yellow?
Anytime they throw a caution in Dover, you better come in and get what you need.
Jimmy Spencer pulling out of pit road, and he has flattened up the right side of Travis Carter's car on something. We're 20 laps complete. We are under caution. Rusty Wallace leading. Mike Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, Alan Kulwicki, and Ernie Irvin. We'll be back to Dover Downs right after this. At Dover Downs, we're under the first caution of the day. 23 laps complete as they take Dale Jarrett's car in off the hook. Let's have another look at that incident up in turn 2.
Wow, that's after he's already got in trouble and hit the inside wall. But as you notice with this high bank on the straightaway, you don't go back up the racetrack. He'll probably get into the inside. Yeah, there he goes in the inside wall again. So it's a mean place to lose a race car.
That's from another angle, and as Buddy said, the damage is already done. He's already hit the inside wall, and again, the banks are self-cleaning. If you're on the racetrack, you're going to come down because gravity's going to take you down. And there he goes into the end. He's got the brakes locked up, but there's nothing he can do about it. There's a shot of the cars that's going back to the garage.
2 items on pit road during this caution. Jimmy Spencer is still on pit road. They're working on the Banquet Food Chevrolet, the Travis Carter car, which looks like he banged it up a little bit in the right rear. And Morgan Shepherd was given the first speeding ticket of the day. He was too fast coming into the pits on caution, so they brought him back in for a stop and go. That means the Bud Moore Motorcraft Ford will be at the tail end of the field when they get this restart. You're riding with Hut Strickland. He trails his cousin-in-law, Davey Allison, out of turn number 4 and to the green flag.
Car was able to jump by Kulwicki on the restart, move him up to 4th position.
So it's Wallace and Earnhardt. Mike Waltrip at 3rd, Ernie Irvin in 4th, Kulwicki, Martin, Gant, Mast, and Allison.
Mike, this was another one of the cars that they said to watch today, the 3 car.
Who are they?
And next Sunday,
the experts.
And next Sunday and the Sunday after that.
Yeah. The Sunday after that. Well, Rusty Wallace is watching him real close because he's got a mirror full of Earnhardt. Toward the back of the pack, Richard Petty moving up well, just went past Dave Marcus. Here are the leaders out of 4.
Earnhardt takes a look on the bottom, but one groove right now going through turn 1.
Well, he'll make it 2 in just a second. Somewhere, right now.
I can't believe the power he has off the bottom of the corner. You would think that Rusty's car running freer up there would get off the corner quicker. It didn't happen.
I think they touched ever so gently too. I think Dale Earnhardt's trailing a little bit of smoke. Maybe we can get a shot of the right front of the car going through the turn. I think he's trailing a little bit of smoke.
Might have folded in a fender.
I think he got together with Rusty Wallace with his right front, Rusty Wallace's left rear.
Phil, as hard as he's running, something ought to smoke.
The wind as he parks it going around this racetrack. Well, it didn't take long. 28 laps for Earnhardt to get up front. 14th spot back in the field. Bill Elliott moving up past Davey Allison. Here comes Kenny Schrader and Darrell Waltrip in the Hendrick Chevrolet is on the low side.
Yeah, there we go. I want to see what's happening there. He looks like he might have developed a push or something in the car because Davey's unable to stay on the bottom of the racetrack. They're passing by him, man. He's lost 6th, 7th position.
Trailing Sterling Marlin off into the corner. 30 laps next time by. Now, Earnhardt looks like he's going to have everybody out of here in time for the early plane.
Sure opened up a gap over the 2nd place car, Michael Waltrip.
Don't run off to mow the lawn just yet, folks. If you were tuned to TNN yesterday, if you weren't, you won't believe the finish. Harry Gant had the race won with 15 laps to go, ran out of tires. With 5 laps to go, Ernie Irvin had it won, ran out of engine, and with 2 laps to go, Davey Allison had it won and run out of gas. Todd Bodine went to victory lane in the Budweiser 200 yesterday. Second and third place battle. What a boost to Mike Waltrip's career. Buddy Baker, when you won your first pole, what kind of lift was that?
Well, you know, that really makes you think if you've got the best race car and you have a chance to win, you know the car is fast enough, so you go into the event with a little extra adrenaline.
Does it carry you through the season that you know you can do that?
No. That's
Just
only
one
good
event.
for one race. It's kind of like when you win, everybody's happy. When you lose, they say, you know, that's history. That don't matter what you did last week. Waltrip is definitely pushing. Look at the smoke coming off that car.
Let's check in with Glenn Jarrett.
You're looking at the severe damage to the Citgo Ford number 21 driven by Dale Jarrett. Dale standing next to us. Dale, what happened out there?
You'll have to ask the 22 car what happened. I don't know. I just riding in line. We were passing the 26 car, and next thing I know, I'm turned sideways. Yeah, it's unfortunate. The car was driving good. Just kind of, you know, passed him as we came to him. It's just unfortunate. I'm about tired of this. I can guarantee you from now on that this won't happen anymore. It's going to be on the other end. I've had enough.
Well, you can understand the anger and his being upset about this. Let me tell you, folks, Jarrett's have a bad temper.
If you ever seen him golf, you'd know that. That 22 car is Sterling Marlin, who continues to run out here in the Maxwell House Ford, the Junior Johnson car. Second, third, and fourth, two Pontiacs and a Chevrolet, Wallace, Mike Waltrip, and Irvin. And they're starting to work a little up the racetrack, but nothing like we've seen here in the past, where you'd have 5 different grooves on this racetrack through the corners. Today, everybody's trying to stay glued right down on the bottom.
Mike Waltrip got a little bit sideways there. I don't know, he was awfully close. I don't know if Ernie Irvin just took the air off his spoiler or what, but got him slowed down enough that Irvin was able to get by on him. You can get underneath him and then get by, beat him in turn 1.
Well, you know, when he said they didn't touch the car after qualifying and sitting on the pole, you wonder if what that kind of setup will work like for 500 miles. Works great for 1 lap.
You know, it's funny. I was talking to several people this morning. Some of the people said they were going to loosen their car up a little bit because it wasn't quite as hot. Some of the people said they were going to tighten their car up because they thought it was such a long race.
Okay, for all you numerologists in the field, car 43 starts, well, the driver of car 43 starts his 43rd race today. He started 31st. His son, Kyle, turns 31 today. And Richard Petty, who started in 31st position, has now climbed up to 21st. He's passed more cars than anybody since the drop of the green flag.
I hope, Mike, that he doesn't finish in 31st.
No. I hope you're right. 37 laps complete. And Richard Petty rolling along toward the front.
I tell you what, there's a lot of cars in trouble right now. Good race cars are fixing to go a lap down to Dale Earnhardt. He continues like he's going right now. I see Kenny Wallace, Jimmy Spencer, Team 3. I mean, they're in serious trouble right now. Unless they have a caution, they're going to go a lap down pretty early in this race.
Let's listen to that Hut Strickland car a minute. Oh, Mike Waltrip falling by the wayside. You saw Strickland pass him. Listen to him get on the throttle here. Just feathering it, then finally getting to it in the middle of the 4th corner.
I don't know. It must be something wrong with the engine. As rapidly as he slowed down, got to be something wrong with the engine on that car.
Said they replaced it this morning? The Ken Wilson engine?
No, on the Dale Earnhardt car. They replaced the engine this morning.
Well, he's passing his pit and headed for the garage. Oh, what a shame.
That is a disappointment, I'm sure, to sit on the pole and have all this high expectations of what's going to happen, and the hood's up, so it's definitely another problem.
That'll be a real tough break for Michael in the points. I think he was in the top 10 somewhere in the points, and it looks like he'll be the first car out, unless it's something that they can fix, fairly quickly.
They're working on it, so it hadn't blown up. They're hunting something. There's something wrong, like maybe the ignition, or what are they working on there, Phil? Can you?
Well, they're taking the fan shroud off for some reason. Maybe he poked a hole in the radiator or something, buddy, and the thing was just running hot.
He's only failed to finish 1 race this year. That was the Daytona 500 when they lost the piston. Looks like Glenn Jarrett's down in that vicinity, and looks like an oil pump belt they have out there. 4th place battle. Alan Kulwicki, Mark Martin, Harry Gant right in it. Hut Strickland right there, too. Now, there's a rare sight. Harry Gant running right down on the white line at Dover.
I tell you, those cars that Buddy was talking about being in trouble, they are already a lap down. As fast as Dale Earnhardt's running, they're already a lap down.
That's a bad sign in a 500-mile race when you run 43 laps and you're a lap down.
Let's go back to the Mike Waltrip car and Glenn Jarrett.
We're standing alongside the car number 30 driven by Michael Waltrip. He's sitting in the car a little bit dejected right now. The problem is the belt has come off the oil pump, and he lost the oil pressure on the car. You can see the guys working feverishly trying to get this thing replaced. But Mike sits there impatiently waiting. He's losing time every lap that goes by. It's a tough break for him, but nothing that they can do about it except change that belt.
I'll tell you, Mike.
Meanwhile, Davey Allison has dropped to the 19th position in that Robert Yates Haviland Ford Thunderbird. There you're riding along with Davey. Let's check in down near his pit with Brock Yates.
Well, Mike, I'm way down at the other end of the pits, down at the exit of turn number 4 over where the Davey Allison crew, as you can see behind me, looks plenty concerned. The problem, as you guys probably diagnosed, is the race car is pushing, it's understeering, it's bound up, it's too tight, whatever you want to call it, but it's pushing real hard in the corners, and obviously it's slowing Davey down. And based on the performance that he put on last week in Charlotte, I think a lot of folks up in the grandstand are pretty surprised about that, but you can be sure that Larry McReynolds and the guys will fix it on the first stop.
Okay, you'll see 43 Richard Petty coming into view coming up on Davey Allison. Brock, we saw in car there was a Hi Chad sticker on the dashboard of Davey Allison's car. Tell us about that, would you?
Well, Mike, that belongs to a young man by the name of Chad, just a minute, I've got to get his name. Chad Baumgartner, who's a nephew of Mike Baumgartner, who's on this crew. And okay, back up to you, Mike. We'll tell that story later.
Rusty Wallace on pit road, unscheduled stop for a right rear tire. Well, both the front row sitters have had problems early. Wallace on pit road at lap 47.
They're going for 4 tires. I see the guy, the fellow knocking the lug nuts off the left side tires, so they're going for all 4 tires.
Can't do that here without losing a lap.
He may have had, he may have had a right rear tire flat because the car got loose, but he may not have been sure exactly which one it was. Sometimes it's really hard to tell whether it's a right rear or a left rear.
That'll move Ernie Irvin up to the 2nd spot. There's Davey passing by Rusty Wallace as he comes back in, and let's go back to Brock Yates.
Oh, Mike, more about that story about Chad Baumgartner. He was one of the young men who was injured in that tragic bus accident in North Carolina a couple of weeks ago, and Chad is in the hospital. His uncle, Mike Baumgartner, is on the Davey Allison crew, and it ought to be a nice thing to put that little message to Chad to cheer him up while he's still in the hospital. A nice touch. We hope that for Chad's sake, and we send along his best wishes that he's out of there and back at the races real soon.
And we pass along our best wishes as well. Look at Davey Allison. And now the battle for 9th spot. Bill Elliott trying to fend off Kenny Schrader, and I think they got together.
Yeah, they're using a lot of the old chrome horn today. I've noticed when they pass, well, it's because the groove is so narrow. And you make your commitment to go in under somebody, and they cut down. It's pretty hard to stay out of them.
They're just fighting for that bottom groove right now, Mike. That's what it is. They're just fighting for the bottom groove.
This racetrack is 58 feet wide in the corners. The groove is only about 8 feet wide.
Right now, the racetrack might as well be about 10 feet wide because that's all they're using of it.
Here's Schrader again. Just doesn't have the poke up off the corner that Elliott has.
One thing about Schrader, though, he won't give up. He'll keep on until either Elliott makes a mistake or both of them make a mistake together.
Darrell Waltrip right with them, the Western Auto Chevrolet, and then Sterling Marlin. Up front at 52 laps, Dale Earnhardt has a lead of some 4.5 seconds over Ernie Irvin, Alan Kulwicki, and Mark Martin.
The 30 car, Michael Waltrip's back on the racetrack, so whatever, it must have just lost the oil pump belt. This is pretty unusual.
Well, I'm going to say one thing. If he lost the oil pump belt and it went to 0 on the oil pressure, he must have had his eye on the gauge when it fell, or it won't be long before he'll be back in here for major repair.
Well, Schrader made it work. Bill Elliott drops back 2 spots as Schrader and Waltrip put those 2 Chevrolets underneath the Coors Ford. Back on track, Rusty Wallace, outside pole sitter and running in second and having the lead for much of this race. Glenn Jarrett's in his pit.
This is Jimmy Makar, Rusty Wallace's crew chief. Jimmy, a little early for a scheduled pit stop, especially 4 tires. What happened?
Yeah, Russ called in on the radio today. He thought he had a tire going down, but he didn't know which one it was. So we had to go ahead and get 4 tires, and it ended up being our left rear tire was flat.
Okay, when the guy calls in, he doesn't know which tire it is. You got to change them all 4 just to make sure you don't overlook something.
I guess you could change 2 and go back out if you had a hunch, but it takes so much time to get into pit road and get out again. Might as well get 4 while you're there.
See, Mike, it only takes you about 6 or 7 more seconds to get him.
Trouble at Chad Little up in turn number 2. Gathers it back in and keeps on going, which will do when we return to Dover Downs International Speedway and the Budweiser 500. Dale Earnhardt's in heavy rush hour traffic at Dover Downs. Lapping past just a moment ago 5 cars. Now trying to move up and deal with Morgan Shepherd. There are only 21 cars on the lead lap. The pace Earnhardt setting at 61 of 500 laps. Richard Petty, just a bit up ahead of the leader, has climbed from 31st now up to 18th position. In that STP Pontiac. Derek Cope, defending winner of this race, right behind. And Joe Ruttman right there as well. Then you see Shepherd and Earnhardt, top of your screen, the race leader. A little under the race record to this point. Only 1 caution flag for Dale Jarrett's friend. Richards has himself quite a race, but he's going to have to hustle to avoid getting lapped by that black car.
I think everybody's going to have to hustle to keep that black car back. I'm telling you, he's lapping them like they're warming the cars up, and he's out there under full power.
Cars that are 1 lap down include Morgan Shepherd, Dave Marcus just gone a lap down, Ted Musgrave, Bobby Hamilton, Bobby Hillman in the Jimmy Means car. Tommy Ellis has been lapped, so has Jimmy Spencer. Bobby Labonte in his first Winston Cup start. Chad Little and Rusty Wallace are all 1 lap down. Mickey Gibbs and Kenny Wallace are 2 laps back. J.D. McDuffie is 7 laps down. And Mike Waltrip back in at 13 laps behind. Here's the race for 6th. Alan Kulwicki and Mark Martin. Make that for 3rd position, excuse me. Behind Earnhardt and Irvin. Kulwicki holding on to 3rd.
Got Harry Gant and Hutch Strickland right behind them, too. They're also racing for position.
That battle's closed way up. Jimmy Spencer a lap down. It's car number 98 right in the midst of that. The Bank of Food Chevrolet of Travis Carter. Spencer just gets a little up the racetrack and scoots on past.
Looked like he moved over to give Mark Martin room, and he just had to tiptoe through that corner. You know, went through that area we showed before.
In the 12 races Alan Kulwicki has run here, he has started in the top 5 in half of those races, 6 times. He's had 2 poles here, 6 top 5 starts, but never a top 5 finish. Now Tommy Ellis comes into view in the 97 car, the Budweiser Ford, but a lap down. There's 4th place Mark Martin, 5th place Harry Gant going fast.
I was in the garage area this morning, Mike, and I noticed that Dale Earnhardt was changing engines. I asked David Smith, the jackman, why they were, as we watched Dale Earnhardt lap Richard Petty for the first time, I asked him why they changed engines. He said, yesterday afternoon in practice, when Dale got back in the throttle, it puffed just a little bit of smoke, but he just didn't want to take any chance. He said, the motor we're putting in is just as good, if not better. He said, but just a precautionary move.
Davey Allison did the same thing last week at Charlotte. Changed motors for the race, never got a chance to practice with a new engine. Boy, that's depth and that's confidence in your engine department. Ed Lanier puts the power underneath Dale Earnhardt.
Well, it seems like Dale Earnhardt's fixing to put a lap on Davey Allison. I don't guess the trunk makes as much difference, you know. Wonder what they'll find on Earnhardt's car this week, since he found the trunk on Davey Allison's bad last weekend. So he's making a sham of this deal right now.
Fourth place car, Mark Martin. Fifth, Harry Gant. And sixth, Hut Strickland. Hut Strickland has come like he's been shot out of a cannon ever since that top 3 finish in the Winston Open. Had a great 6th place finish last week in the Coke 600. And he's right there, tracking Harry Gant, the 6th place car. And you ride with him down the front straightaway. There's the Winston Media Center and that new Turn 1 grandstand. You hear that Keith Allman engine coming up to full song as he goes down the backstretch. I understand Bobby Allison's not at the racetrack today. He was in Charlotte, but I'm told he wouldn't be here for this event. So we hope he's watching. And Harry Gant looks like he's knocked the right corner of the front spoiler loose.
That'll probably make him run better. He needed it. Yesterday we asked him how he's running, and he said he's probably going to park the car after he got lapped the first time. He led quite a bit of the race, if you remember.
And nearly won it. You see up ahead Alan Kulwicki, and now we're at Earnhardt. He has put Brett Bodine a lap down. The 17th place car, and now goes after Davey Allison. Made that look easy. Oh, there's a bit of smoke. Tire smoke?
Yeah, he's on the outside groove passing, and it just makes the car push a little bit too big.
You know, the last time they resealed this track, and I remember I think it happened in Atlanta too, when they were wearing in that sealer, the smoke we'd see would be from the sealer on the asphalt, and when somebody would get up high, it looked like their car had just exploded. But it was just the interaction of the tires and the asphalt sealer.
It would really look like you had an engine failure.
Mike Waltrip in the Pennzoil car, back running 13 laps behind. Trailing second place Ernie Irvin. Irvin had a great run yesterday here at the Buck 200 in his Mac Tool Chevrolet. Grenaded the engine just about 4 laps from victory lane. 75 laps are complete here at Dover Downs. Dale Earnhardt leading Ernie Irvin, Alan Kulwicki, Mark Martin, and Harry Gant. Riding with Davey Allison down to turn 1. Right behind Richard Petty. That battle is for 16th position. Joe Ruttman right there as well. Dinnerbell Foods old with Bob Rahilly and Butch Mock's car. Here's Brock Yates.
Okay, Mike. We're all set to go down here in the Davey Allison pit. The crew is ready. Down out of the groove. Davey Allison, they're going to take 1.5 round out of the rear chassis setting. Front tires all the way around. Probably a slight stagger change on the right side, but certainly a chassis change because he has been complaining. It's all bound up. That's all he's been saying on the radio for about the last 10 laps. So Davey, a lot of problems with this race car, handling-wise. Plenty of power, no complaints there. As you see, the rubber E screw to work here. The 28 car back underway. Let's see how well he goes now.
Davey Allison back on track at 78 laps at the Budweiser 500. Dale Earnhardt, your race leader. Ernie Irvin, Alan Kulwicki, Mark Martin, and Harry Gant, the front 5, as we close in on 1/5 distance. Derek Cope has been on pit road. Mark Martin just took on right side tires. You see Alan Kulwicki and Hut Strickland making pit stops. Terry Labonte is now in for his stop of the day. There's Hut Strickland pulling back out, and Dave Marcus is in the pit lane. Things get a little busy down here, and most of the cars taking on 4 tires, though Cope and Martin got only right sides. Now, Davey Allison was the first of the leaders to pit.
Yeah, he pulled in a little bit early, and the danger of that, if they had a caution 2 laps after that, he would be completely out of business. He'd lose two laps almost.
Ernie Irvin comes to pit lane. Let's go to Brock Yates.
Mike, I'm with Larry McReynolds, who's checking over some tires in the back of Davey Allison's pit. Larry, you stopped a little early. The guys are curious up in the booth why that came as quickly as it did.
Well, one thing Mexico have on board, we missed the setup pretty bad today. And once we got left, there was no sense in hanging out there. Might as well get in here and get 4 fresh tires and try to make a chassis adjustment. See if we can't get it a little better.
I know you were praying for a yellow, but it just didn't come.
I didn't hear
you. You were praying for a yellow. I know that as hard as anybody could be.
Well, anytime you're a little bit off like that, you know, you always want to see a yellow flag where you make an adjustment, you know.
Okay, Larry, thanks. Up to you, Mike.
The leader, Dale Earnhardt, is on pit road. And the Flying Aces of Richard Childress' Goodwrench team go to work. Jeff Musgrave making a stop here in lap 87. Green flag pit stops continue. Earnhardt will get 4. Lake Speed on pit road, and Bill Elliott also. .21 stop for Earnhardt's crew as usual.
Very good stop.
Pit board out for Kenny Schrader now. Looks like Elliott got only 2 tires.
And Lake Speed also only took on 2 tires. The 1 car, Rick Mast, is now on pit road.
88 laps complete. That'll put Harry Gannett into the lead.
I was talking to Andy Petrie earlier. Here comes Harry in right now.
And likely Schrader. Nope, Schrader will run another lap. He wants those 5 bonus points. So Schrader's number goes to the top of the board.
I was talking to Andy Petrie here against crew chief this morning. He said he thought they could run 100 miles, but he said we just have to play it by ear and see when we need to come in the pits.
Bobby Hamilton making his scheduled stop. Here's Ricky Rudd. And back in for the second time, Bobby Labonte in the hood going up on the Slim Jim Olds. One car, I believe Derek Cope's car was held for a 10-second penalty on pit road, 10 or 15 seconds after his pit stop. Chad Little is in. Ricky Rudd getting completed at the right sides. Riding with him as he drives back onto turn 1. 90 laps complete. Joe Ruttman rolls in for a stop. Chad Little is in, and here's Schrader, the race leader. Kenny Schrader pitting at lap 90. That Hendrick engine department under Randy Dorton, Ken Bingham, Ronnie Revis, the rest of those fellows really getting good gas mileage along with good horsepower for their cars. Richard Petty making his stop at lap 91. Four for Schrader. And the black flag is out on Bobby Hamilton. Ran over the air hose on his pit stop.
Uh-oh. That was a close call right there. I'm telling you, Harry Gant did a beautiful piece of driving to miss the car. One coming out of the pit pulled directly up in front of him, and the other car was on the outside of him.
Bobby Hamilton's numbers on the board. He'll come in for at least a stop-and-go penalty for running over that air hose.
Darrell Waltrip's our leader right now. He hasn't pitted yet, so Darrell Waltrip's in the lead.
Nor has Morgan Shepherd.
You see, Morgan Shepherd's pitted on that caution flags for Dale Jarrett's race. Here comes Darrell Waltrip in the pits. So that'll leave Morgan Shepherd. That'll leave Morgan Shepherd in the lead, and he was lapped by Dale Earnhardt before Dale Earnhardt's pit stop, and now he's leading the race.
But behind Shepherd are all the drivers who have made their stops. So at lap 93, Waltrip wins the first round of the economy run. And they'll put 4 tires on the Western Auto Chevrolet. Morgan Shepherd, who's out of sequence, now goes to the top of the leaderboard. And it looks like a penalty on Waltrip, where the inspector's standing. Nope, steps away. I think he was just watching the work being done. Waltrip goes back out, and that will just about complete the scheduled round of pit stops. Morgan Shepherd, driving for Bud Moore in the Motorcraft Ford, had a short day in his own car yesterday in the Bud 200. He's one of the early casualties with engine trouble. Giving Bud's car a good run here. That car has always done well here.
He really is. I remember Ricky Rudd winning a race in Bud's car back 3 or 4 years ago.
The only thing I think about that is he did stop out of sequence, so he's going to have to make another stop, and he's going to be a lap down when he makes that extra stop.
If he can just catch a caution flag right now, then he'd be in good shape. He would be able to stop as the field is slowed for the caution flag
and be right back in sequence. Scoring showing 13 cars on the lead lap as we close in on 100 miles. Morgan Shepherd, whose best finish here was second in June of 1988, leads the Budweiser 500. Dale Earnhardt running in second. Ernie Irvin in third. Mark Martin in fourth. And Jimmy Spencer being posted as the fifth place car. In sixth, Tommy Ellis. Then Lake Speed and Sterling Marlin. Harry Gant, Kenny Schrader, Rick Mast, and Bill Elliott. We'll be back to Dover Downs after this. Good battle going on here in midfield at Dover Downs. Watching Kenny Schrader there running behind Harry Gant and Sterling Marlin. That race is back at 9th place. And they're not too far behind the Lake Speed car in 7th. Good battle here. Working around Mickey Gibbs' automobile.
Oh, me. Earnhardt's just about funny.
We're about to have a new leader as Morgan Shepherd's being called pit side by the Butmore crew. Earnhardt working there against Hunt Strickland, and Hunt will stick it right in there. Trouble is, he runs up against his cousin-in-law, who's not all that quick at the moment. Let's see if he can squeeze out and make some room. There he goes. Morgan Shepherd on pit road. That will hand the lead back to Earnhardt as Shepherd pits at lap 106. Boy, they just split Kenny Wallace's car. And Hunt Strickland got away. And he's got to run hard because Earnhardt is in danger of putting him a lap down. Look out the back of that car at turn 1.
Hunt wants that blue car of Dave Marcus to stay in between them. That's a good one.
Well, it is. That's one of the best ones out there because Dave runs really hard when he's in danger of getting lapped. Not that he doesn't run hard all the time, but he will fight you tooth and nail to stay on that lead lap.
Now, when we had the in-car camera in Hutt's car, you see that yellow light? I'm not sure exactly what that is, but when he got back in the throttle, the light went off.
That's either oil pressure or ignition light.
Let's go down to Steve Evans. Maybe he has a report on that.
Well, you know, in the family car, anytime a warning light comes on the dashboard, you really should pay attention. Hunt Strickland is running 140 miles an hour, not saying any of the call to that light. Let's ask Jimmy finish. Jimmy, what is the light on the dashboard or in-car camera seeing? I couldn't hear you on that. There's a light on the dash, a warning light. What is it?
Oh, that's for the brake. That keeps the foot off the brake.
It's not a problem, boys?
No, we ain't got no problem. They're trying to keep our lap back.
Well, actually, he's got no problems except for Dale Earnhardt.
That's real smart that they do that. He must use his left foot on the brake quite a bit, and he leaves it on the pedal, and they'll put that on there. Usually in the cars that I drive, a light like that would either indicate oil pressure or ignition, but in his case, he must leave his left foot on the brake pedal, and that's to get it off of there.
Well, he is running hard, and here's why. Earnhardt is right on his bumper. As Hunt Strickland tries to stay in the hunt here and stay on the lead lap in the Rebestos Buick.
Ricky Rudd's in the same position. He's right in front of Hutt. As a matter of fact, we're in Ricky Rudd's car now looking back at Hutt, and he's desperately wanting to stay in the same lap along with Hutt. So Ricky Rudd would like to leave Hutt between them, so he has a little bit of cushion.
I think Hutt's a little quicker than Ricky. Just they got out of sequence on a pit stop. There he goes, diving underneath Rudd. Great pictures from that in-car camera in Hutt Strickland's car, and here comes Earnhardt.
Well, I'll say one thing for him. If he'd have run that hard a while ago, he wouldn't be in danger of getting the lap down, because he's flying now, and Earnhardt's having a time just trying to put a lap on him.
I think it's an indication of how much time can be lost on pit road, Mike, because we watched Hutt a lot earlier in the race, and he was really running well with Harry Gant and people like that. And now here he is in danger of going a lap down.
You're riding with Hut Strickland. Can't even hardly see Earnhardt's car. He's so tucked up underneath. And gone. Now Earnhardt goes to work on Harry Gant. Strickland, no slouch. He was the 13th place car. And Rick Mast falls a lap back. Mast running 11th. Sterling Marlin and Harry Gant having their own private battle. Now that's for 7th place. .114 laps. Earnhardt the leader. Irvin, Martin, Spencer. Jimmy Spencer posted in 4th. Schrader in 5th. Lake Speed in the 6th spot. And this race for 7th. Sterling Marlin and Harry Gant.
Jimmy Spencer's another one of the cars that pitted on that caution flag we had for Dale Jarrett's wreck. So he's out of sync right now also along. And Morgan Shepherd has already made his pit stop, so that put him back a lap down.
Davey Allison has a good view of that race for 2nd place. Mark Martin, the 3rd place car, just ahead of him. And Ernie Irvin's yellow Kodak car a little further up the road. 2nd place battle. Ooh, Derek Cope comes a little bit up and takes that groove away from Mark Martin.
It looked like Derek didn't know Mark was there, because Derek would have never done that had he known Mark Martin was on the outside of him.
Now that Richard Petty, Davey Allison battle is not for position. Allison is now 2 laps down. There's a wave to Richard. And sends Richard around the high side.
I'll tell you what, that sure makes for a long day. As Buddy and I both can testify. When the car is ill-handled like it appears Davies is, boy, it makes for an awfully long day.
Yeah, but that just shows you what a good sport Davey Allison is also. He's not just sitting there going, well, I'm miserable. I'm going to make Richard Petty miserable.
Yeah, I'm impressed by that. I mean, he races hard. When his car's running, he runs hard. But when it's not, he's a gentleman about it and will wave you around. On pit road, Jimmy Spencer, who was the 5th place car, getting service from Travis Carter and the crew at 118 laps. Dale Earnhardt the leader. Ernie Irvin in 2nd. Mark Martin is 3rd. And Ken Schrader is 4th. Lake Speed has the 5th spot at 6th. Sterling Marlin and Harry Gant continuing to go at it. 120 laps complete this time around. We'll be back in a minute. As you watch turn 1, Rusty Wallace gets a lap back from Dale Earnhardt in the Budweiser 500. Neat move.
Neat move, and he's on the move.
124 laps complete. Earnhardt leading Irvin, Martin, Schrader, and Speed. The front 5. Lake Speed had his hands full with Harry Gant. Gant has since passed Lake. So Harry's number will pop up on the leaderboard in 5th spot. Lake is 6th. Sterling Marlin is 7th. Alan Kulwicki is 8th. And Rick Wilson is 9th. That's the lead lap. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
You're looking at Richard Childress, the car owner for number 3, driven by Dale Earnhardt. Richard, that car looks like he's on a mission today.
Yeah, his car seems to really be working good. We changed engines this morning, worked with the same one yesterday, and got the car, he says it's working good. He's got a little push in it right now.
Doesn't look like there's much of a push. He's just leaving the field behind. Is he out to prove a point from last weekend?
No, we just trying to do our thing.
And their thing is running away from the field right now.
That big ring Richard had on his right hand was from running in the Winston Legends. Very proud of his participation in that event at Charlotte 2 weeks ago. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, that was exciting. I'll tell you what, I hate to say this, but it was a better race than the Winston was.
in some ways, yeah.
I'll tell you, Mike, that's the whole reason I went to Charlotte that day, was to watch the Legends race. I haven't taken a camera to a racetrack, I guess, in 20 years, and I took one that day.
It was a great day for all those heroes to be honored and to go out and bang a fender or two one more time, and they did. Harry Gant, having moved away from Lake Speed, laps the Jimmy Means car. Now, that's not Jimmy in it. It is Bobby Hillen who started that car. Now, Jimmy's wife, Marcia, gets the owner's points. Bobby Hillen was well up in the driver's points. Cut a deal with Jimmy Means to start the car today. And Hillen will move over into the Felix Sabati's car, the Kyle Petty car for the Super Speedway races coming up. And Bobby Hillen's ride in the Moroso car becomes vacant then starting in Michigan.
Yeah, and guess who's going to be in it? Yours truly.
One Buddy Baker.
I am really excited about that. Bob Rinaldi builds a great motor, and Moroso, I drove for him in Talladega in a second car, and it was a real thrill to drive the race car, and I'm looking forward to Michigan.
Vic Moroso's a great guy and should have a lot of fun with that. Let's find where your favorite driver is running at 130 laps right now in this 500-mile event. We'll bring you the Wagner Field standings. They're brought to you by Wagner. Power painting. It's not just a whole lot faster, but a whole lot better. We'll take you all the way down through the field with that here in just a second. This is as of 120 laps, about 10 laps to go.
Have you noticed Harry Gant's getting faster? The more he beats the car up, the more the front valence flops around, the faster he gets. And he likes a little adversity in the race car, believe me.
And you'll notice the higher he runs on the racetrack.
Listen, Harry Gant's famous for that. If anybody gets up high today, it'll be Harry Gant.
There's third place Mark Martin in the 6th car. As you look down through the field, these cars you're seeing now on the Wagner rundown are 1 lap down. There's second place Ernie Irvin. And now these cars are 2 laps back.
I'm showing Ernie Irvin, the 4 car there, with about a little over 9 seconds behind Dale Earnhardt. So that's over a third of a lap here, and we're only 33 laps into the race.
It's going to make a long day for 35 drivers. Here's Steve Evans.
We are down in the Kodak pits. Of course, everybody watching Dale Earnhardt's Thunder. But I wonder, Tony Glover, do you guys have anything for Dale Earnhardt? Can you run with him when you want to?
Well, I don't think so right now. Not at this point. He looks pretty strong, but right now we're not running wide open. You know, we're trying to conserve our tires and make it to the next stop and get 4 tires.
What will you do on the next stop besides 4 tires? Any chassis adjustments to try to run with them?
No, he said the car's driving really good right now, and you know, he's real pleased with the Kodak Chevrolet.
Okay, that's the words from the picture number 4.
Brett Bodine slow on the back straightaway. Derek Cope is on pit road, just taking on 4 tires in the Whitcomb car. Here's Brock Yates.
Mike, activity here in the Kenny Schrader pit as Richard Broom and the boys get ready with the Cracker State car. As you can see, all set to go. It's a green stop. Nobody. I'm sorry. We got Bodine getting ready to make that stop here. Okay, we can't see him.
Rocky's just coming onto pit road now, and he's coasting in. His best finish here at this racetrack, 9th in 9 starts. And at 1 lap 136. Brett is on pit road.
Okay, Brett go down into the pits. They're going to raise the hood on the automobile. The Buick obviously has problems. They're going to make a right side tire change and put fuel on board. So they apparently are hopefully getting something to work here. Looks like it's possibly ignition problems as they're going to the left side tires now. They are optimistic, obviously, getting restarted, but Brett Bodine is dead in the water here in the pits right now.
Talking to Tony Glover a minute ago, and he talked about getting 4 tires. Notes that Glover and Rick Wilson, or rather Ernie Irvin, were one of the cars that only got right sides on that first stop.
Blake Speed was another car that only got right side tires, and I think it was a pretty good move because right now it's left him in the lead lap.
Earnhardt coming back up to try to put Rusty Wallace another lap down. Rusty is 1 lap down. He got 1 of his 2 laps back from Earnhardt. Now Earnhardt's right back with him again. 139 laps here at Dover, Delaware. Earnhardt leading Ernie Irvin, Mark Martin, Kenny Schrader, and Harry Gant. Lake Speed in 6th. Marlin, Kulwicki, Wilson, and Strickland. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Dover Downs. where TNN's Motorsports exclusive coverage of the Budweiser 500 is brought to you by new Haviland Formula 3 motor oil. Add more life to your car. Watching Ernie Irvin, the second-place car, and trying to close up on him is Mark Martin, but Irvin is working to put Bill Elliott away. Elliott is one lap down to race leader Dale Earnhardt. Glad to have you with us on TNN's second live Winston Cup race telecast. I'm Mike Joy with Buddy Baker and Phil Parsons. Down on pit road today, Glenn Jarrett, Brock Yates, and Steve Evans. Only one caution flag so far. That came at lap 20 for Dale Jarrett's crash, and that boosts the average speed well above the race record. Out of the race, Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte in his first Winston Cup start, and they've just pushed Brett Bodine's car to the garage area. Second round of pit stops beginning to start, and here's a veteran campaigner. J.D. McDuffie has started 42 of the 43 races here at Dover. His Pontiac, sponsored in part, as it's been for many years, by Rumpel Furniture down there in Elkin, North Carolina. It's only J.D.'s second start of the season. At Darlington, he ran in the Trans-South 500, picked up 73 Winston Cup points, and was running at the finish.
I tell you, J.D., you have to admire a guy with the perseverance of J.D. McDuffie. He has raced for years and years and years, and he knows when he goes out there he's not going to win, but he does the best he can do with what he has.
Remember when he won a pole here on those McCreary tires?
Yeah, I sure do.
His only career pole.
Yeah, and everybody here was happy for it.
Yep, you bet. Best finish, 1970. In Winston Cup racing, fourth on the track at Malta, New York, Albany-Saratoga Speedway, the quarter mile where if you went off turn 2, you'd end up somewhere way out the backstretch and into the woods. Great little speedway. Second place, Ernie Irvin there in the 4 car, moving up on Chad Little. And Rick Wilson's been having a super run here today. Let's check with Glenn Jarrett.
Okay, we're standing by with Brett Bodine. They're getting ready to roll the car into the garage area. Brett, what's the problem?
Looks like we broke the camshaft in the Quaker State Buick. Went up the back straightaway and the motor shut off. We thought possibly just the spreader broke, but evidently it's broke the cam. You know, Dover's a tough racetrack on valve train parts, and you're going to see a lot of problems like that during the day. It just seems that this place is tough on the motor pieces, and you know, it got us today. Quaker State Buick's running pretty good. We're going to just try to settle in there, and they had a car handled decent. Too bad it's a short day.
Well, yesterday was obviously a much better day for the Bodine family.
That really was. You know, it tickled to death. Todd finally got his first win in the Bushman National Division, and maybe now we'll get him a sponsor. That team's been unsponsored. They really need some help.
Richard Petty slowing down and coming to pit lane at lap 152. Richard was just in the pits 61 laps ago in the STP Pontiac. They're going to put right side tires, Robbie Loomis and the crew, on Richard's car.
Richard had moved up to 17th position from his 31st position start, so Richard was on the move.
Just went 2 laps down coming onto pit road. Dale Inman up in the spotter's nest, watching over things. Richard's last win here at Dover, 1984, his 198th career win. There's a look out Hut Strickland's car, and there's that brake warning light. Well, when you're sponsored by Ray Bestos Brakes, I guess it makes sense to have a brake light in the car.
Yeah, but if you notice something else, that's Dale Earnhardt right in front of him there. He passed him about 25 laps ago, and he hadn't pulled away from him at all. Hut's running a great race.
Third week in a row. Here's the battle for fourth place. Ken Schrader has it. Harry Gant wants it.
Harry Gant's going to get it. He's run him down from the straightaway back. And I tell you, the longer this race goes, the stronger Harry Gant gets.
There he goes to the inside.
Nice clean pass.
And he gets the John Madden Award, too. Did you notice the front valence on it when he turned it in the corner, the front down on the car? It was just waving in the breeze there.
It looks like it's coming
come unloose on both sides.
Well, that'll make him run better yet. He needs the quarter panel to start flapping, and he's lap the field once or twice.
Ted Musgrave in the pits, and difficulty with Alan Kulwicki's car. There's the Hooters Ford, and it's way down off the pace at turn 2. This could not be a scheduled pit stop, though Kulwicki was in at lap 83. He's been slow all the way around this last lap. See what Carl Andrews and the crew have for him. As the Hooters Ford comes to pit lane. Allen presently shown. He was in 8th place, running just behind the race leader. He's under power, and he'll be tired. So Kulwicki in the lap 158. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Well, this is Alan Kulwicki's scheduled pit stop is a 4-tire change. I don't know if there was a problem on the car or not, but they're just doing a routine thing. A little bit slower than normal. He had some problems on the track, but a little bit slower than normal pit stop. The car had died. Now he has to refire, and he's down and away. It cost him a little extra time.
Well, he definitely run out of gas. They were shooting ether into the air cleaner there to get it to refire, so he run out of gas. I don't know how long ago he stopped, but he...
Well, I do 75 laps.
75 laps. Somebody didn't fill it up then.
That's exactly what happened, buddy. They probably went when they got the tires changed on their first pit stop. They did not get it full, and consequently he ran out of gas. Because I was just like you. I showed that he ran 84 laps to start the race before he pitted the first time.
Now you watch, he'll be a rocket. Fresh tires and a tank of gas. Zoom. But Kulwicki is going to have to make up 3 laps now. Harry Gant.
You know,
getting close on Mark Martin.
He's almost as impressive as Earnhardt is. Gant is all of a sudden. That 6th car was a full straightaway ahead of him 4 laps to go, and I mean, he's run him down. He'll pass him right away.
Harry Gant carving his way up through the field, presently in 4th place. And Bill Elliott peels down off the banking.
Mike, my inside source says of all the cars that were going to be strong today, the 33 was the strongest.
Bill Elliott at lap 161.
Let's go a little further with that story. He's one of the strongest men in the race car, and that really pays off here. Physical fitness at this racetrack, he is something else.
Here's Steve Evans.
All right, we are in the Mark Martin pit with old friend, car owner Jack Roush. And Jack, it's been a frustrating season, but you certainly have the best running Ford today.
Well, we don't have the best running car today, though. We got to chase that sweet car. And we'll be ready to go after that.
All right, good luck to you. Jack Roush, main man for Ford.
We're heavy into this round of pit stops. Rick Mass getting 4 tires. Davey Allison's service is completed.
Yeah, we sure did. Ran out about 5 laps early. We wasn't ready to come in yet. I don't know what's going on. Not getting quite the gas miles for it. Ford's running real good. It's a good thing. Looking forward to a good race today.
Is it possible that you didn't quite get it full the first time?
No, it was full the first time. We know it was.
Well, that's a little unusual for him to run out of gas that early. They'll have to keep an eye on that the rest of the day.
164 laps complete as Joe Ruttman comes on to pit road. Upcoming stops for those Chevys of Schrader, Waltrip, Earnhardt, Mark Martin in the Ford. At 165, Earnhardt continues to lead. It's Chevy, Oldsmobile, Ford, and Chevrolet here at Dover Downs. We'll be right back. Dale Earnhardt is on pit road for his 2nd scheduled stop of the day. Kenny Schrader also in the pits. Lap 170.
I was just laughing. Dale Earnhardt come down pit road behind Rick Wilson, and Rick come in very slow, and I looked over in the NASCAR booth over here, and Les Richter and them were laughing their head off because he made him come in the right way.
Harry Gant now getting his service. Gant's number was on the leaderboard for a lap. Harry in at lap 171. Rick Wilson was not going to get any speeding ticket for coming down pit road.
And he was going to make sure Dale Earnhardt didn't either.
4 tires for just about everybody on this second round of stops. Andy Petrie's crew sending Harry back out. That should put Morgan Shepherd back into the lead. Here's Ricky Rudd at lap 172. He got only right size on the first stop, so Waddell Wilson's crew will likely go for 4. A smudge of the windshield. I think that's Danny Marshburn in the helmet running around on those rear tires.
See any chassis adjustments, so they must be fairly happy with the car.
Ricky's car's not running too bad today. He was running pretty well. Got himself 1 lap down to Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, you can be running very well and be a lap down to Dale Earnhardt today.
Easily. Here's Steve Evans.
Well, guys, I can tell you, Ernie Irvin's car would never have passed any state safety inspection with the tires they took off it. Look at this one right here, and especially Phil and Buddy. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about it. Here is completely worn down to the cord, if that's what you can call it. And there's a build-up here, and it appears to be the slurry seal off of the racetrack. It's a wonder he was even getting through the corners on this set of tires. He should be all right now, though.
He was just fixing to test out the Dover wall, I can tell you that. When you start seeing the fabric on a tire, it's about 3 laps, and he's really making a noise around here.
Bobby Hillen pitting the Jimmy Means car at lap 175. Morgan Shepherd is the race leader. Second time today that's happened. Morgan got out of the pit stop sequence and now finds himself in the front spot in Bud Moore's car.
Uh-oh, we have a fire down here on pit road. We have a fire. Guys on fire. Gas tank.
On Jimmy Means' car.
Yeah, the filler can got on him.
Apparently, the flame out the exhaust system on Means' car got the 11-gallon dump can on fire. And the gas man is being attended to by crew members there just behind the car. Fortunately, that smoke is all blowing the other way.
What happens there is they have that filler can, and a lot of times it comes out of the overflow tube, and I guess the engine must have backfired or something and fired it up.
So the car goes back into the fray, and looking at that dump can, there are a couple of companies, notably Brian Butler, who does the seats for these cars, that have a ring that goes around that filler tube to be able to seal it off so gas can't spill out. That can did not have that.
Well, the guy that was on fire, he's up against the wall there, and they're fixing to take him to the medical care center down here because his right leg was on fire when he ran off from the car.
Bit of gas spilling down on it. Tough break for the Jimmy Means team. The pit stop was completed without further incident.
All right, he's up and walking, man. That's a good sign there.
Terrific. That's terrific. We'll get word in a moment from Brock or Steve down in that area. Brock Yates.
Okay. Are you all right? Well, we're trying to get to him. Try to figure out what happened here. He's, first of all, are you all right? Come on. He's a little shaken up, obviously.
It looks like he's trying to convince the medical crew that he wants to stay in the pits.
No, he's a real racer. He's telling the guy what to do on the next gas stop, the one that's taking his place.
Back out on the speedway, Dale Earnhardt is posted in third, and 2 drivers who have yet to make pit stops, Morgan Shepherd and Darrell Waltrip, are at the head of the field. Rusty Wallace, a lap down, is in 6th spot, and Mark Martin is right with him now. They're running just behind leader Morgan Shepherd.
I think Rusty Wallace is out of sync too, along with, we had an unscheduled pit stop for the flat tire, so he's out of sync also.
Remember, we've been green since lap 24. Only 1 caution flag today. So we're still in this round of green flag pit stops with Shepherd, Waltrip having yet to pit. Morgan Shepherd leads the Budweiser 500 of 182 laps. Darrell Waltrip, then Dale Earnhardt, Harry Gant, and Kenny Schrader, who have made their pit stops. for the second time today. More from Dover Downs after these messages. At Dover Downs, Delaware, Darrell Waltrip is up in front of the field. He has yet to make his second pit stop of the day. Dale Earnhardt is second. Harry Gant back in third. Ken Schrader in fourth. Mark Martin, the fifth place car. Rusty Wallace is sixth. And Ernie Irvin seventh. All in the lead lap. Morgan Shepherd has made his pit stop and drops to a lap back of Waltrip. Then it's Hunt Strickland in ninth. Sterling Marlin in 10th. Rick Wilson in the 11th spot. Lake Speed in 12th. Alan Kulwicki, Jimmy Spencer, and Bill Elliott, the top 15. Frank Dries was the crewman on Jimmy Means' team that suffered burns to his leg in that gas spill. Let's go to Brock Yates.
Well, Mike, I'm with Henry Benfield, who has probably poured tons and tons and tons of fuel into race cars for Junior Johnson's team over the years. And Henry, we just saw a little fire down there, but you guys are now going to full Nomex. You're wearing, you go to a helmet, you go to everything to cover yourself up from fuel. I can remember years ago you guys used to do it in T-shirts. Henry, is there a more danger of fire now? Okay, we can't hear you. We'll get back to you.
Dale Earnhardt is back up front, to no one's surprise, as Darrell Waltrip makes his pit stop at lap 191. Waltrip went 98 miles on that last tank of fuel.
We've got Rusty Wallace coming in the pits, too.
Good stop for Darrell.
Only took on 2 tires.
And Rusty Wallace, who was on the lead lap when he made that stop, will likely drop off it as the leaders come back around.
As soon as he dropped off to come to pit road, Dale Earnhardt passed him, Mike, and that put him a lap down.
Closing in on 200 miles here. And after all the pit stops are sorted out, Earnhardt is back to the front. Trouble out of 4, Mike Waltrip. Sliding down the front straightaway. He's going to save it. Just noses it into the wall.
That's as easy as you can hit in Dover, right there.
That's exactly right.
It is the second caution of the day, and it comes out on lap 194. Mike Waltrip spinning out of turn 4, and he spun more than 1,000 feet down this racetrack.
Yeah, he spun. It looked like he was in Talladega. The right front tire flat, and the right rear blew up as he's pulling off there. When it's not your day, it's not your day.
Nearly 1,000-foot slide for Mike. The pole sitter had trouble with an oil pump belt early, and now he brings out the second caution of the day. And the timing of that, well, Darrell Waltrip, if he could have squeezed it out about 3 more miles, would have found himself in Fat City.
Oh, he's going to do it again.
Well, I'd be frustrated too.
He's doing his best to get turned around, but with the tires flat like that, it's hard. I think it's hard for him to turn the steering wheel. It doesn't appear that he has reverse.
Earnhardt will pit. The race leader is the only car. Well, no, here comes Harry again. 2 cars will pit under the caution.
See, right now, Mike, on this first lap, only the cars on the lead lap can pit. So that's why I think you'll see a lot more cars come in, but they have to wait till the next lap.
Yeah, and there are not many in the lead lap after that last pit stop, round pit stop there.
Service on Earnhardt's car. Now the field going by. Mike Waltrip can't get turned around, so he goes 14 laps down.
Looks a little strange to me to see only 5 cars on the pit road.
Well, I think NASCAR has done a good job with the evolution of these new pit rules. I mean, we started out in Daytona with a set of rules and situations that nobody understood and hardly anybody could adapt to. Then at Richmond, everybody completely disregarded caution flags and only pitted every 100 laps in that race. But now we're in a situation with a speed limit on pit road and very precise rules about how you have to come into and park in your pit. And only the lead lap cars pitting on the first lap. And I think they pretty well got this right.
I do too. I tell you, Michael Waltrip, what a tough break he's had after sitting on the pole here. I think we have a replay of this. We'll get a look maybe at what happened. I think Michael's at the very top of the screen. Just gets up a little bit high, really smoking it. Starts smoking the tires.
You know, I've got a feeling that the tire that we seen worn out a while ago, I think when you go a real long ways on these tires that you have a problem of maybe wearing them out now that the sealer's coming off the racetrack. He might be getting a better grip on the racetrack and is wearing these tires out.
Well, he was in just 55 laps ago.
Okay, that's one theory going.
Thanks a lot, right, Mike? No, I don't know. I didn't know if he got 4 or just right sides, though, buddy. So we'll try to sort this one out when we come back. 196 laps are down. Harry Gantz at the front of the pack. Ken Schrader, Mark Martin, Ernie Irvan, Dale Earnhardt. We'll be back to Dover Downs at the Budweiser 500 right after these messages. They're having a difficult time getting Mike Waltrip's car hooked up to the wrecker, so we remain under the second caution of the day. Dale Earnhardt is the race leader and is one of the sources of controversy in recent weeks in NASCAR racing. He and Davey Allison, with the spoiler trunk lid height adjustment rule change that went into effect recently. Steve Evans tells us more about that continuing saga.
There is a major controversy raging in Winston Cup racing, and it all has to do with 3/4 of an inch. But let me tell you the story from the very beginning. This is Davey Allison's Ford Thunderbird. 2 years ago, when the newly designed Thunderbird came along, race car builders told NASCAR, we can't put a racing engine in this thing. The carburetors won't clear the hood. So they allowed a bit of a hood modification, and the Fords ran just fine. Well, then they got into a slump. In fact, the first 10 races of this year saw the Fords go winless. NASCAR says, what's the problem? They said, well, you see, the stock Ford Thunderbird right here dips way down, so our spoiler is way down. We're not managing the air coming off of the roof. It's going right over the top of the spoiler. No downforce. The cars are loose. So NASCAR said, all right, we'll let you cut here, cut there, and raise the deck lid 3/4 of an inch. You can't change the size of the spoiler. It has to remain like everybody else's. Well, when Davey Allison just smoked him at Charlotte a week ago, everybody said, it's this modification. Allison says, no, it's horsepower. Well, we talked to both sides.
Well, you know, NASCAR has always had the cars to fit. The template has to fit a stock car. Now they've altered the template some, so I think anytime you do that, it gives one car an advantage over the other.
The way that the back end of the car was originally, the cars were real squirrely, and we just didn't have a chance whenever we were in big packs of cars. And you know, all it was in NASCAR is making the cars safer, basically, because if you try to race, the cars were going to get out of control, and all they were doing was looking at it from a safety standpoint.
Well, the Fords fit the templates. They've just been altered. The template has been altered. Now, all the cars still have to fit it. You know, but our template fits a stock car. You know, if you take a template off Oldsmobile out here, it fits a stock Oldsmobile. And we have to run by those rules.
With the deck lid up 3/4 of an inch, you can put my car side by side right now with any of the GM cars, and the spoiler is still lower than their spoiler. So I don't think that had anything to do with it for 2 reasons. Number one, it wasn't done to the Charlotte car. And number 2, even here at Dover right now, the spoiler is still lower than theirs is.
I'll tell you, Mike, I was at the driver's meeting this morning, and I heard Dick Beatty say, hey, from now on, we're going to give you this 3/4 of an inch on the rear quarter panels for the Fords, but only on tracks a mile or less. So when you get to Sears Point next week, the quarter panels better be back down. That just happened this morning.
Here's Mike Waltrip's car. They did get it started. Apparently, the front end with the 2 tires down was stuck in the dirt that separates the front straightaway from the wall. Once the wrecker pulled it back, he was able to get restarted. The man with his hand on the hood to the right side of the screen is Ken Wilson, the engine builder, and he's having a look to see if there's any further damage underneath the hood there. 201 laps complete. Earnhardt the leader. Ken Schrader, Mark Martin, Harry Gant, and Ernie Irvan. 6 cars on the lead lap here at Dover Downs. We'll be right back. No. At Dover Downs, we're ready to go back to green flag racing. Morgan Shepherd elected not to pit under this caution flag, so he's at the tail end of the lead lap, just in front of Dale Earnhardt. Ken Schrader in the second spot. Mark Martin is third. Touch and go there. Earnhardt and Shepard rather.
Rusty Wallace beat Morgan Shepard through to turn 1 and 2. Morgan Shepard desperately needed to get down in front of Dale Earnhardt to try to stay in the lead lap. And they got together with Morgan trying to get down, and Dale was able to get by him.
Rusty had again gone 2 laps down, so now he's just a lap back in the distance around the racetrack. Those are the retirees thus far. Just 3 of them were 40% through this race. 204 laps complete. And Earnhardt begins to run back down Rusty Wallace. There's Schrader, the second place car, number 25, and Mark Martin, number 6. Rick Wilson on pit road. He was in at lap 170.
Yeah, and that's a shame because he's been running great all day long. I hate it for Rick. He had a real good run going.
Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Michael Waltrip, for a day that started off so great with such promise, this thing has just turned to mud.
Well, we first of all took the belts off the engine and come in and put those back on, and I guess I just tried a little bit too hard. I felt like I was being conservative, and I got into something and spun out and hit the wall, and this is just adding insult to injury right here. It hadn't been a good day at all for this Pennzoil team, but we had a good start. That's all you can say about it.
Well, I think you can rest assured that there'll be many more good days for Mike Walker and the Pennzoil Racing team.
I think so, too. You see, he's one of the drivers going to the Formula One type balaclava, or the head sock that's made of Nomex there underneath the full-face helmet. Earnhardt out front and by himself, while Ken Schrader has his hands full with Mark Martin. There's Harry Gant racing in 4th place, and Ernie Irvin right with him. Now, while we were away, Irvin came in and filled up the tank at lap 201, 7 laps after he'd been in. He's the last car on the lead lap, so he was able to move back up into position on that last lap of caution. But he's got the most gasoline of anybody out there right now.
I'm not sure what kind of gas mileage he was getting, but that could really be important as we come down. See, it's not just the fact that he can run that much farther, but the thing is he can keep people a lap down. If he can go 5 laps farther than everybody else, then he'll put a bunch of people a lap down. If that caution falls in that little gap there between the time everyone else pits and the time he has to pit, then he'll keep a lot of people a lap down.
The Morgan McClure car had been stopping every 85 laps under green. Only 2 cautions today. The first on lap 20, Dale Jarrett spinning off turn 2 and out of the race. At lap 193, Mike Waltrip spinning in 4 and sliding down the front straightaway for the second caution of the day. Watching Morgan Shepard duel with Hut Strickland. Both those cars are now a lap down. And Mark Martin closes in on Kenny Schrader for second spot. The car ahead of them is Rusty Wallace. Earnhardt is way gone out of the frame.
The outside crew does not even look like it's improving. I see a car get on the outside in 1 and 2. He's just as bad as he was on the first lap that he got out there.
Second place battle here. But did you wear a cool suit much when you're racing?
I wore it one time, and I tell you, I don't like it. I don't like anything like that. I don't like extra parts on a race car you don't need.
Bill?
I wore them a couple times, but I hadn't worn one in the last 3 or 4 years, so and I really don't anticipate ever wearing one again.
I can tell you this, Harry Gant has never even owned one and don't plan to.
Neither is Ricky Rudd. They were the big thing for a couple of years now, but now I know Rusty Wallace still wears one on hot days, but a lot of the fellas don't. Hood is up on Rick Wilson's car, the Stavola Brothers Snickers Buick. And Mike Waltrip is back in the race.
Never say die.
Nope. Nope. Well, just too much money and too many points at stake to go home. So we'll keep an eye on Waltrip the rest of the day. He is in 32nd position. And we'll track him through the day and just see how much staying out there and going back out means to his point standings at the end of the day to coming back from 32nd spot. If the attrition is high, it could serve him well.
Well, I can tell you the last half of this race will be a lot different than the first half. You'll see a lot of cars falling out from various reasons, but the first part of this race is kind of deceiving.
Well, when you're 33 laps down at this stage in the race.
No, you're not going to gain a whole bunch. But you got half the race to go yet, you got to remember.
Right. Riding with Hut Strickland. Edging in on Morgan Shepherd. This is for position for sixth spot. 1 lap down. They're the first of the cars a lap down. And Harry Gant, the 4th place car, is right in the midst of them.
Harry's car seems to be better on a long run. As you see him drive underneath, or try to get underneath Hut Strickland, it seems like Harry's car, the longer they run, the better it gets.
That seems to be the textbook for Harry Gant and Leo Jackson. The longer the race stays under green, the better they like it.
Just watching the race right now, Harry Gant's a little bit faster than Ernie Irvin is. He's pulling away from him. They were, you know, nose to tail, and Harry's just moving right along. If he can get by Hud, I think he's going to move right on up and give Schrader a hard time. You notice I didn't say Earnhardt.
Not yet. Earnhardt leads at 218 laps. Schrader, Martin, Gant, and Irvin are on the lead lap.
3 wide going down the backstretch. Hut Strickland and Harry Gant split. Morgan Shepherd both got by him.
Yeah, but he's on the outside. If he can get by him there, he's got something for him.
Whoop. I'd say so. Down to turn 1. And Gant puts away the Allison Buick with Hut Strickland aboard. Hut would be right in there fighting for 4th spot, but Earnhardt set such a torrid pace in that second run of green flag racing.
We noticed out of Hut's car that the 30 car was on the apron. He's now come to pit road, so the troubles just continue to mount for Michael Walker.
And he's going back to the garage. Harry Gant and Hut Strickland. And Harry's gaining on him, but not a whole lot. Aside from Earnhardt, Gant's likely the fastest car on the track right now.
I think he probably is. We'll have to wait and see 20 or 30 more laps if Harry can gain anything on Dale Earnhardt.
Here's another battle for position. 8th spot is at stake here, right behind Hut Strickland. Sterling Marlin and Alan Kulwicki battling. Kulwicki having the kind of fuel pickup problems that plagued Davey Allison yesterday. Running out of gas after only 75 miles here. That's dropped him off the lead lap. 222 laps are down on the Monster Mile. Earnhardt, the race leader. Ken Schrader in second. Mark Martin in third. Harry Gant and Ernie Irvin are the cars on the lead lap. 6 through 10. Hut Strickland, Morgan Shepherd, Sterling Marlin, Alan Kulwicki, and Lake Speed.
They're doing that
at Dover Downs, Delaware. Sterling Marlin continues to lead Alan Kulwicki in this battle for 8th place, 1 lap off the lead. Now, will Kulwicki, is he riding? What do you think, Phil Parsons? This is the time of the race where this things kind of tend to grind along.
I really don't think he's riding because he knows that he got a lap down in the early, or the first 200 miles of the race. So he knows that if he rides any at all, that pretty soon he'll see that black number 3 behind him, and he'll be 2 laps down.
Yeah, the days of riding in these races. I mean, at one time at Dover, you could come up here and pace yourself, but you can't do that anymore because you have too many people like Earnhardt and Gant and those guys that never pace.
That's the race for 7th. Let's pick up on the race for 3rd. Ken Schrader has been passed by Mark Martin. So Martin is now the 2nd place car. And look who's closing on Schrader, Harry Gant. Here's Steve Evans.
guys know that Harry the Bandit Gant is famous for driving a stealth Oldsmobile, sneaking through the field without the enemy's radar being able to pick him up, and that may be what he's doing today. The Bandit trying to steal another race. Andy Petrie, according to car watches, you've got the fastest car out there with the possible exception of the 3 car.
Can't really hear you now. You know, the car's running real good right now. It's a long way to go. The 3 car looks pretty strong. So, you know, a lot of time left.
Indeed, for Harry Gant, he's going to be a winner simply before this day is over.
You know, Rusty Wallace has tacked right on to Gant. Rusty is now, again, 2 laps back of race leader Dale Earnhardt. Let's see how Harry's doing against that white line. Still getting pretty close down to it. Folks, for those of you that are new to watching races at Dover Downs, in the middle of turns 3 and 4, see the paint way up there where that STP billboard is? That's the Harry Gant groove way up there next to the wall. He'd tick that wall about every other lap. And he'd be just as fast on the top of the racetrack as some of these guys are on the bottom.
You know something, Mike? I clocked the interval between Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin a few laps ago. It was right at 2 seconds. Now it's 1.7 seconds. So Mark Martin has picked up 0.3 of a second, say, in the last 5 or 6 laps. So for once today, we've seen somebody gain on Dale Earnhardt.
And that's Mark Martin, the second-place car. I mentioned that Rick Wilson is back in the race, but he spent a long time on pit road. He is 15 laps back. Kenny Schrader, third-place car, and there is Gant right with him, just a car length back. Here's Brock Yates.
Mike, I'm with Richard Broom, Kenny Schrader's crew chief, and aside from the noise, how's he doing down here? He fell back a little bit, Richard.
Well, right now the car's just a little bit loose. We're going to adjust it with tire stagger. I think we're going to be okay.
Got a long way to go.
Thank you.
Okay, Richard Broom, Mike. They feel pretty confident right now.
Kenny Schrader with a win and 4 top 5 finishes this year, being passed by Harry Gant. Gant going up into second. Harry won the fall race here, now the peak 500 in 84 and 85. I'll make that third place for Gant, excuse me. There's Mark Martin in second, and he is closing on Earnhardt.
Yeah, he is that. He caught him.
We might need to check and see if Dale Earnhardt's having a problem, because he's not but 4 or 5 car lengths behind us. You can see right there on the screen.
Mark Martin is there.
He's having a problem, all right. I think it's number 6.
Well, wake up, Dale. The coffee's ready. That Folgers Ford is right there. 11 lead changes among 7 drivers at 230 laps as Wagner, power painting that's not just a whole lot faster, a whole lot better, brings you this Wagner Field standings update. Those cars are on the lead lap. Here the cars 1 lap down. If we take a look back through. And Martin is now going to put a Ford in Dale Earnhardt's future. They're at turn 2.
He's hungry. Up, little chrome horn.
Didn't leave him quite enough room.
And while they fight, here comes Mr. Gant, wide open.
Martin works up just a little bit there in the middle of the corner. See if he takes another run at him here at the front stretch. Nope.
Catching a Dale Earnhardt's one thing, Mike, but passing is another.
Yeah.
Now, aside from points, bonus points, why does Martin have to get by Dale Earnhardt right here?
I think he wants to set the tone for the end of the race. I think he wants to say, hey, Dale Earnhardt, I'm better than you right now. My car is better than you.
I got news for you. Harry Gant said, let me end this. It looks like fun. He's run him down. He's right in the race now.
There's Gant. And Earnhardt is in second. Look at Martin scoot away in the middle of the corner on him.
I think you were right a while ago. Phil asked me if he thought that Earnhardt was having a problem. He might have a tire problem or something because Gant's catching him. He's running up the racetrack. This thing, he hadn't fell back like that all day.
Well, half the crowd loves it and half of them hate it. Harry Gant underneath Dale Earnhardt, and there goes second place.
This is the best race we've had all day, Mike. This is the closest they've been all day. Now we'll see if Harry can run up and catch Mark Martin. They're both better than Dale Earnhardt right now, but now is Harry better than Mark Martin?
Well, we're about to find out here. 10 laps to halfway. And Mark Martin, the young man from Batesville, Arkansas, who came so close to the Winston Cup last year, and has had such frustration this season, now leads this race. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
This is Robin Pemberton, crew chief on Mark Martin's car. Robin's been awfully busy here, measuring tires, checking stagger. Looks like you found the right combination finally, Robin.
Well, we've been real conservative first half of the race. We've been running scuffed tires. This is the first stop that we've put on thicker tires, and just trying to get a baseline for the rest of the race.
All right, is there any difficulty in keeping the stagger correct on these new tires?
No, these are pretty good tires for that. This is the best bias fly tire that Goodyear's got. For the same tire they run here in Michigan.
Okay, that's the story from Mark Martin's pit.
Ken Schrader has caught Earnhardt now. Schrader is about to take over third place.
Don't you know Earnhardt's just sitting there going, come on, caution, let's have a caution, please.
Look at this, Mike, 3 wide behind Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah. Bernie Irvin's there. He's part of the lead lap, and Hut Strickland is trying to get back with him. Well, Schrader's up in that high groove, and that may not be the place to be. They're going to get under Rusty Wallace here.
I thought Ken Schrader was getting ready to go by Dale Earnhardt, and now 2 cars have passed him.
He thought so, too. Earnhardt, we're told there's activity on the radio, and he may be in a lap here.
Yeah, he just pulled over to the inside and let those cars go. I think you'll see Dale Earnhardt coming in the pits this time.
He's not
they have tires up on pit road. They're coming in definitely.
He's not going to wait to get lapped. Earnhardt was last in the pits 53 laps ago. So they clearly did not get the setup on that car. Ernie Irvin is now going past Earnhardt. That'll drop him to 5th. Mark Martin and Harry Gant 1 and 2 go off into turn.
Earnhardt's in the pits right now, Mike,
at lap 245. See what Kurt Shelmerdine and crew have for Earnhardt. Scuffed tires on the right side. Glenn Jarrett's there.
Well, there is speculation that there is a tire going down on Earnhardt's car. They didn't want to lose any more time on the racetrack. They brought him in to change all 4 tires. That's the reason that Earnhardt had slowed down, not taking any chances. They had another set ready. They brought him in, put him on. They'll have to get back in sync later on.
Dale Earnhardt failed to finish only 1 race last year. This one.
You remember this race last year, Mike. He broke a camshaft, and they actually changed the camshaft, took the engine out of the car, changed the camshaft, put the engine back in, and was able to ride around and gain some more points, and just enough points to beat Mark Martin.
That's right. Harry Gant. Now, apparently, that distance is stabilized from Mark Martin, first to second.
We now have Dale Earnhardt 1 lap down. Dale Earnhardt is really something when he's playing catch-up.
And that will change if we stay under green here at the next scheduled round of pit stops. And that should come for the race leaders about 40 laps from now. We are 2 laps from halfway in the Budweiser 500 at Dover Downs, Delaware. There you ride with Davey Allison. Mark Martin puts the Ford out front. Harry Gant in second. We'll be back in a minute. Mark Martin puts the Ford out front. Harry Gant in second. We'll be back in a minute. CNN Motorsports coverage of the Budweiser 500 is being brought to you by the more than 550 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the right parts at the right price. Harry Gant tracking down race leader Mark Martin. That's Gant on the right side of your screen as Martin moves up to lap past Tommy Ellis.
Well, this car is doing just fine.
Just about 3 laps down. But, Ellis, who runs well on this racetrack, having a pretty fair day here. Currently posted in the 20th spot. And that allows Gant to close in a bit as they work past John Delphus McDuffie. You know that unlit cigar is clenched in his jaw as he rolls around in the number 70 Rumble Pontiac. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Well, folks, X marks the spot. This is the right rear tire that just came off of Dale Earnhardt's car. Where that circle is with the X in it, right at the cross of the X, there's a puncture mark. He ran over something on the track, cut the tire. It was going down. That's the reason he started dropping back through the field. Earnhardt's car is able to work extremely well on used tires. But like everybody else, as the sealer wears off of this racetrack, the tire wear gets worse and worse. And I think that's the reason that we're seeing the cars have to come in a little earlier each time. They can go maybe 100 miles on gas, but the tire wear won't get them 100 miles.
So this track is really changing, buddy.
Yeah, I noticed that when I seen Ernie Irvin's tire a while ago, worn out. That happens at Darlington a lot of times. The further in the race you go, the more tire wear you have.
We're at lap 257. At halfway, Mark Martin was the race leader. The average speed at halfway, 124.8 miles an hour. That's 3.5 miles an hour shy of the race record for halfway. 12 lead changes among 8 drivers. 4 cars running on the lead lap. We've had only 2 cautions for 18 laps. Back up front, Harry Gant in second place. Mark Martin, the race leader, in the Jack Roush Folgers Ford. And let's have a look at the interval. There it is. Martin working Joe Ruttman down the front straightaway.
Boy, this run has to feel good for the Jack Roush team, Mike. They've struggled somewhat. I mean, not as bad as people think. I mean, they're still up there in the points, and they've run well. They've had a pole or two, but this run really has to make them feel good. This has been the best run they've had all year.
What a difference 100 miles makes. They interviewed Jack Roush just a little while ago, and he said, we certainly don't have the best car here, and now they're leading the race. This thing's changed 3 or 4 times before this race is over.
Martin has 2 pole positions this year, Martinsville and Charlotte, but his best finish has been 4th at Darlington and Bristol. Only led a total of 66 laps in the first 10 races this year, and now he's out front. This race is for 3rd spot, Ernie Irvin and Kenny Schrader. Looks like Schrader is reeling in the 4 car.
Okay, Kenny Schrader started out this sequence in front of the 4 car, so the 4 car was able to get in front of him, but once he has, Ken Schrader stayed right with him. So right now those cars are pretty equal.
I'm going to take this time to say hello to somebody down in Gastonia, North Carolina, over at Casey's over there. There's about 300 or 400 people love TNN over there, and they told me to say hello today. And hello, guys.
You know, they're all watching. Well,
oh, yeah, those guys watch the race now. I'm going to promise you. They even got a place in there called Pit Road.
Is that right? We got a fella here in the grandstand today, Dave Paghetti from up in Massachusetts. You think your luck's bad? Yesterday, he had Ernie Irvin in one pool and Davey Allison in another. Thought he was going to get first and second place prize. Ended up going home completely empty-handed when they both fell out with less than 5 laps to go.
You know, if that had been a 300 lapper yesterday, I'm afraid that Elmo would have won his second race this year.
In the pace car.
In the pace car, exactly.
Could be. Terry Gant sweeping past Davey Allison.
What a difference a week makes.
Yeah, that's just what Buddy was saying at the top of the show. You win that race, and that's great. But I think it was Roger Penske who popularized the saying that at the end of the day, the clock winds back to 0. Next week, it's a whole different deal all over again.
Yeah, that's like second. You call your boss and say, "We'll run second today." He says, "Great. What else happened?"
That happened to you, didn't it?
Yeah, several times. Oh, when you win, they call you. That's the difference.
That's it. That's it. Davey up on J.D. McDuffie, and then right behind him comes Joe Ruttman. Wasn't that when you were first starting to drive for Chrysler Corporation?
Yeah, Frank Wiley, you know, he says, we'll call you when something good happens. So the second race that I drove for the factory team, I called him up and told him I run second in Daytona, and he said, yeah, what else happened? So I knew right then that I was in trouble. I won about 3 weeks later, and they called me. So yeah. I knew that you didn't call if you didn't win.
If you don't win, don't pick up the phone.
Exactly.
See that big building on the back straightaway? If you've never been here to Dover Down, it's a 1-mile super speedway oval. But that building on the backstretch is an enclosed grandstand that's used not only for these Winston Cup events. You'll see it when Mark Martin rounds out of 2 here. And into that back straightaway. But that's the front stretch for the horse race track that's inside the asphalt oval. It's a dual-purpose facility here. Well, we're not too far away from pit stop, so let's check on the strategy. First, with Glenn Jarrett.
Well, you know, everybody's been chasing Dale Earnhardt all day long until he had that tire problem. They've got that tire problem corrected now. I still think Dale Earnhardt can be the dominant car. He's not gonna give up. He's very tenacious. When you get Dale Earnhardt down, that's when he's at his toughest. I think Dale Earnhardt still is a factor to be reckoned with. Brock Yates?
Well, Glenn, I think the same thing is true of Kenny Schrader. I just talked to Richard Froome, and I asked him about the tire wear and this possible breakup of the racetrack with a sealant coming off, and he is unconcerned. He said, I don't think we're going to have any problems with it. Racetrack, he thinks, is going to stay just about the same, and tire wear will remain pretty constant for the rest of the way. So there's a debate down here, I think, between the various teams. How about you, Steve?
Well, I am in the Harry Gant pits, and all I get from all the guys in the green and white is this. Thumbs up, everything's just fine. You really have to wonder for the physical condition of these drivers. It is over 90 degrees right now. The humidity is a story. That's hard on the driver, but it's not going to be easier on the motor. Humidity and water is difficult to there. They can't run as hard, which is maybe why we're not seeing quite as much break as we might otherwise.
All right, gentlemen, Alan Kulwicki just got tires, and there's trouble in the backstretch. It is, J.D. McDuffie. Whoa. And the field will split him in the middle of that straightaway.
King did a great job there. When I say King, I mean Richard Petty. I have to remind myself on television. I have little things that I call people that. Well, Richard come very close to turning him just then.
Even Kyle, when he's talking about it, calls him King. The King did this. Lake Speed ran out of gas just moments ago under green, coasted in, and the hood is up on the Cale Yarborough car, the Phillips Trop-Arted Pontiac. He had gone 105 laps without a stop, and you see the crews ready for pit stops. Third caution of the day at lap 271 for J.D. McDuffie's spin in the backstretch. That's Kenny Schrader's crew. And here's J.D.'s Pontiac.
Wow, that was really a tough break for J.D.
See, he's got this sponsor Rumpel Furniture he's had for a long time, but they always put Rumpel on the part of the car that doesn't get rumpled. Then again, Dale Jarrett's car for Saturday's the Nestor's Crunch Pontiac. We've seen that thing wadded up a couple of times. Crunched.
Yeah, that car's pretty well hurt there.
J.D. qualified at Darlington, ran the whole race. The only Winston Cup start he's had besides here this year. And here come the leaders to pit lane at lap 273. Mark Martin under the speed limit, 40 miles an hour down pit road today. And the one car, actually that's everybody on the lead lap that's in now.
You know what this does, though? That brings Dale Earnhardt back in the lead lap, and he's made a pit stop.
One lap down.
Oh, he's down now?
Yeah,
Did you know he went by him?
I don't know if he went by Mark Martin. See, right now, those fellas will close up on the tail end. The guys that are on the lead lap, and then they'll come around and line up behind the pace car when they give one to go. And that Earnhardt would still be a lap down.
If Earnhardt don't pull on the outside and make it impossible to get by.
If Dale Earnhardt was to stay out right now, he would technically be on the tail end of the lead lap. Actually, all the cars right now on the racetrack are on the tail end of the lead lap. The cars that are one lap down.
Right. So Mark Martin goes back out onto the speedway, as does Harry Gant. 273 laps complete. J.D. McDuffie rolls into the garage area to become the race's 5th retiree. TNN's exclusive live coverage of the Budweiser 500 will continue after these messages. 275 laps complete. We're working the third caution of the day for J.D. McDuffie's crash that knocked the Rumpel Furniture Pontiac out of the race here at Dover Down. Mark Martin continues to be the race leader. Let's have another look at what happened to J.D.
Oh, he got together with the 42 car. The 42 car was trying to go by him on the inside. J.D. was going to leave room for him on the outside, and they got together. I'm sure really tough break for J.D. and Kenny Wallace, I'm sure, had no intentions of that happening. He just Kenny was going low, and J.D. thought he was going high, and they had a little meeting there.
Well, that's after they've already tagged there. He had a ton on the inside wall there. You know what that's like when you anticipate somebody going by on the outside or the inside? It's just like when you meet somebody in the hall and both of you try to get out of each other's way and you keep moving over in front of each other. that's the deal there.
Right in the middle of the screen, look at Hut Strickland's car as he punts that tire
up
out to the outside. And evasive action, I think that's Schrader.
Looks like Chad Little.
Chad Little, thank you.
Chad Little there trying to dodge that tire.
One got laid out a little too far out in the lane.
This should be interesting here, Mike. Earnhardt's lining up on the inside, one lap down. If he can get by Mark Martin, then he'll be back on the tail end of the lead lap.
Okay, the whole field has been on pit road between laps 273 and 4. Riding with Hut Strickland. There's the green flag. They jostle around for position down in turn 1.
Well, he's going to make that up for just a minute or two, I promise.
Earnhardt trying to get back on the lead lap. A cut tire and an unscheduled pit stop for Earnhardt. It left him a lap down. He's now ahead of race leader Mark Martin as you ride with Ricky Rudd.
We'll get a good chance now to see how Mark Martin stacks up with Dale Earnhardt. Because obviously, when Mark caught and passed Dale Earnhardt, he had a tire going down. So we'll get a good chance now to see if Jack Roush was right, that they had the second day. They did not have the best car here.
Ernie Irvan outside of Ricky Rudd there, trying to come up to challenge Ken Schrader. Irvan, the Kodak Film Chevrolet. They're just ahead of Ricky Rudd, our camera car. Irvan is 4th. Schrader is 3rd. You see Dale Earnhardt just ahead of Mark Martin at the head of that pack. Great pictures.
Great picture. I was just fixing to say, if you guys want to know what it looks like to a racer, that's it right there.
Those cars really do move around up there.
They move around a lot, and if you can just imagine if that whole pack turned sideways in front of you, how much room you would have to avoid it.
Little to none.
You say little to thud. Yeah, that's it.
Mark Martin, the leader. Earnhardt is just that shy away of being a lap down. Ricky got way out of the throttle that time as that whole pack of foam just kind of eased off and the whole field sort of accordions there. You know, with the absence of a real good second groove, these guys just have to wait and try to work their way underneath, just like Kenny Schrader in the white car is trying to do to the red car, try to work his way underneath him and then beat him to the next turn. Ernie Irvan almost had a shot under Rusty Wallace as Rusty kicked high and won. Now they're into 3 and 4. Record crowd here at the Monster Mile as they just keep adding grandstands and grandstands, and the fans respond. There's Rusty up high, and Ernie can't get down there. Ricky Rudd's coming on the bottom.
Morgan Shepherd in the 15 car moved down to let them go.
And that stuffed Ricky Rudd.
Yeah, that's caught Ricky Rudd behind him, so Ricky's going to have to wait till traffic clears to pull out behind him. There, he was able to get in. I think Sterling Marlin was the car behind. Sterling let him in.
Rudd is running well, but he's 2 laps down in 12th place. Just ahead of Ernie Irvan is on the lead lap. Rudd and Wallace are battling for position. That's the race for 11th spot. Right behind them, Sterling Marlin is on the same lap in 13th. 14th, Terry Labonte, 15th, Richard Petty, and 16th, Bill Elliott are all on that same lap. Let's check in with Glenn Jarrett.
Well, this is the rumpled fender of the Rumple Furniture Pontiac driven by J.D. McDuffie. J.D., I know you didn't want to be here right now. What happened out there?
I don't know. I got bumped coming off 2 over there, and I got into the inside wall and banged it up pretty bad.
It doesn't look like you're going to be able to get her back today.
No, it bent her in the house and all.
That's too bad. What's your next show? I know running as an independent, a little tough on you to make these shows. If something like this happens, when's your next race?
I couldn't make out what you were saying. We're going to Pocono.
All right, life is tough on an independent driver, really, especially so when you have something like this happen. J.D. McDuffie will be back at Pocono.
I hope there's somebody listening, watching up in Pennsylvania today, would like to sponsor that car, get J.D. along, and call Pocono Raceway, and they'd be happy to set you up.
You know, that's one thing about J.D. Did you notice he had a grin on his face, even though that come out of his pocket? That wasn't factory money or money from a sponsor or anything else. That's J.D. McDuffie paying for the damage, and he didn't get out and say, this guy knocked me where or anything. Just seen somebody may have bumped him. Well, you know that you got to admire a guy like that. Absolutely.
Well, both Earnhardt and Mark Martin have been up there in that little groove, smoking the sealer off of turn number 4, much more so than turn 2 here. Watching this time, Martin keeps it way low, and Earnhardt is right down there to keep him solidly in the mirror of the 3 car.
And you have the next car behind that group was Harry Gant, who was in 2nd place, and then Hud Strickland, who was a lap down, I believe, in 6th position.
Let me tell you one thing I've noticed. Jack Roush may not have the best car, but he's got the fastest one, because he's caught Earnhardt again, and he's working on him. And as you said, Handsome Harry's on the move.
Hey, Mark Martin would dearly love to get by Dale Earnhardt and keep him a lap down. If you can keep Dale Earnhardt a lap down the whole race, and then obviously you have a good chance of winning. There's Gant, the 2nd place car. Kenny Schrader is 3rd. Ernie Irvin is 4th. They're on the lead lap. So is Earnhardt in 5th. Hut Strickland runs in 6th. Morgan Shepherd is 7th. Darrell Waltrip currently posted in the 8th spot. And Jimmy Spencer in 9th in the Travis Carter car. Those cars are 1 lap down. Alan Kulwicki is 10th. 11th, Rusty Wallace. 12th, Ricky Rudd. And 13th, Sterling Marlowe. That's quite a battle as well.
I tell you, Jimmy Spencer's doing a great job in that car, because he really hit the wall on the back straightaway. The whole right side of that car was pancaked at the first of the race. And to have that car that high up in the standings right now, he's doing a great job.
Jimmy's come a long way since he first came to Winston Cup racing, and it's a go for you folks.
The greatest thing that ever happened to him was Travis Carter. He listens to Travis, and Travis probably knows as much about how to make a race car driver do the right thing. He's a good coach, and he's doing Jimmy, you know, Jimmy believes anything he tells him, and it's really helping him along.
Here's a look at Darrell Waltrip, who's running in 8th position, behind Morgan Shepherd, but ahead of Jimmy Spencer, and 1 lap back. Here's Brock Yates.
Okay. Well, Mike, you know, down here, it's like standing around in a very noisy pizza oven. It's just almost unbearable. I would imagine the temperature is probably about 90 degrees in the pit. There's no relief. A lot of sunshine bearing down on everybody. But I am in the Darrell Waltrip pit, not for any particular reason other than Kenny Schrader's right next to us. Darrell's hanging in here, of course, not in contention. But what he's got is this. A portable air conditioner. How about this? Now, you'll watch the guy slide over here and get a little brush of fresh air periodically. It's a terrific device. But do me a favor, Mike. Don't tell Jared and Evans about it, will you, please?
No, I imagine you'll be locked right there all day, Brock. Just so you know, inside of Hut Strickland's car, it's 111 degrees. No air conditioning there. Battle for position out on the racetrack. Morgan Shepherd, Alan Kulwicki, we're told. Rather, Morgan Shepherd and Darrell Waltrip are battling for position. And Harry Gant's beginning to close on our leaders. This race is for 7th spot, Shepherd and Waltrip. Steve Evans?
I don't usually listen to Brock Yates' pit reports, but I happen to hear that one. I'm darn glad I did. Yates, this could be the nicest thing you ever did for me. But don't tell Glenn Jarrett, because there's only room for us. We'll just alternate here.
Absolutely. Forget Jarrett. I don't think he hears about us anyway. He's too busy getting that good report stuff down in the garage area.
He is doing that. All right, well, we got to go back to work, but it was nice while it lasted.
Find out for me if they sell those things at Western Auto, and get one up here to the booth, will you? 296 laps complete. 4 away from the 300 lap mark. Here's your race summary as of lap 285. Just about 5 minutes back, Mark Martin was and is the race leader. He's led 47 laps. That's almost as many as he's led the whole season. 5 cars are on the lead lap. 12 lead changes among 8 drivers. Average speed dropped by that last caution to 122.8 miles per hour. Only 3 cautions today, covering 18 laps of the nearly 300 we've run so far. Here are your race leaders. Mike Waltrip led from the pole. Outside pole sitter Rusty Wallace took over. They've since both had problems. Dale Earnhardt piled up some more of those hard charger points, 143 laps. And Mark Martin has been out for the last 47 out front. Darrell, Morgan, Kenny, and Harry have each had a shot at the lead. Some of those coming during the pit stop sequencing under green. Out of the race, Dale Jarrett spun at turn number 2. He said Sterling Marlin put him around. Bobby Labonte lost an engine. Brett Bodine the camshaft on his Buick.
Mike Waltrip, now camshaft trouble, has him in the garage, and J.D. McDuffie, after that bump with Kenny Wallace, is in the garage area. 300 laps next time around. Hut Strickland trailing Rick Wilson. Not for position. Strickland is the 6th place car. Well, now Glenn Jarrett wants in, and let me guess where he is.
Well, I see you guys were trying to keep this all to yourself. I want to know what the big idea is. I'm down there working my tail off in the garage area. You guys are standing up here in front of a fan. Now, what's the big deal?
What's the idea? I want to know how you found out about it.
Hey, I pay attention to the broadcast.
Well, if we can interrupt you guys for just a second, we may have a change for the lead here. Harry Gant has caught Mark Martin. You watch the next televised race. Every pit will have an air conditioner.
Don't tell those guys, Mike, but it's about 70 degrees up here. Don't tell those guys in the pit.
Pass the shrimp, will you? A lobster bisque?
That's it. Yeah.
Well, there's Earnhardt. He doesn't have time for a snack. He's busy trying to stay on the lead lap and hoping for a caution. No brothers or no fathers and sons in this race, right? We're not going to see like Indianapolis in one of these anybody need a caution kind of deals.
Well, Andretti could have everything but a stepdaughter in the race.
there were 4 of them. Oh, that was a tough thing and a tough call, I'll tell you. But we're 302 laps into the Budweiser 500. Mark Martin leading. Harry Gant in 2nd. Kenny Schrader 3rd. Ernie Irvin in 4th. And Dale Earnhardt 5th, all on the lead lap. We'll be back to Dover Downs after this. Huge crowd on hand at Dover Downs. You're watching there from the top of the Winston Media Center down in turn number 1. And that front stretch grandstand used to be all the seating there was here at the Monster Mile on the outside. And the horse track enclosed grandstand. And look at what they've added here just in recent years. Turn grandstands, high grandstands all the way around turn 4 and into turn number 3. Just newly added, and they are full today. And there's a brand new highway, Delaware Route 1, that's being built all the way down from Wilmington down to the shore, and it's going to run right behind the racetrack. Be an exit right nearby and make getting in and out of this racetrack a lot easier for the fans. Dale Earnhardt, the Goodwrench Chevrolet number 3, is on the tail end of the lead lap. Mark Martin has him in his gun sights, but Martin has a mirror full of Harry Gant, where he is busy full time.
Mark doesn't want to get too aggressive to try to get by Dale Earnhardt, because if he does, Harry Gant's right there to stick his nose in there.
Of the 10 races so far this year, Mark Martin has only led 3 of them. So it's got to be a great feeling for the Jack Roush team to be out front and running so well here today. Davey Allison watching on that battle. Back straight away. Mark Martin's first race here was in 1982, and in this race, finished 5th. Buddy, who are you more concerned with in this situation if you're Mark Martin, Harry Gant or Dale Earnhardt?
Well, I'd be more worried about Harry Gant at the moment, because he's almost a full mile ahead of Dale Earnhardt. Time to worry about him when he's in the same lap with you. But I see Mark Martin making little moves, like he might try to put him a lap down here in just a second.
And Harry made a little move under Mark.
I'm not sure if that wasn't Harry moving.
He's letting him go, guys.
How about that?
Believing that.
Move over flag is out on Earnhardt.
No, he didn't let him go.
No, sir, and here comes Gant.
He wanted looked like Dale Earnhardt wanted Harry Gant to be late, so he saw that.
Harry Gant's kind of draws to an inside straight. Boy, he took advantage of a great opportunity there. Couldn't capitalize. And they go right back the way they were running before.
That was a pretty slick move by Dale there. He moved down and Mark jumped on the outside of him, and that got Harry side by side with him, so that gave him a little breathing room.
Yeah, well, that's fine in the straightaway, but Mark didn't want to be up there when they got back to the corner. Now here's Earnhardt coming down to the inside, and they are holding the passing flag out on Dale Earnhardt. I mean, he is in danger of being lapped. Now Martin's got the high side, and Earnhardt gives him plenty of room this time by.
Yeah, I just don't believe he's going to move over and go a lap down if he can help it. I think he just showed him that he moved over, they couldn't do it, so now don't give me the flag anymore.
Well, the flag's in the middle of the straightaway. If he moves down there, Martin comes up alongside, and they come off the corner just like they are.
Yeah, but he can't keep doing that. He'll run out of time if he does that. I noticed they didn't wave the flag this time. That's an aggravating flag anyhow. I think that's a supreme insult to a race car driver, especially like Dale Earnhardt, to see a passover flag.
Lead car is running right at the 26-second range. 26:05:07. Gant tries the bottom again. He's got Mark Martin up there. Got a pretty good run at him right now, Mike. Got the side-by-side. If he can beat him down in turn one, he's got the lead. Looks like he did.
Oh, yeah. I guarantee you let Harry Gant go. He'd rather Harry Gant do battle with Earnhardt than him take a chance of something going wrong.
That gives Earnhardt a little breathing room in his efforts to stay on the lead lap. Just for a minute, I would say. See if Gant can reel him in here. 317 laps complete. If you joined us late, just 5 cars on the lead lap. Harry Gant in front, Mark Martin in second, Ken Schrader, Ernie Irvan, and Earnhardt.
I'm going to take this second one. We got a little quiet here and wish Mark and Leslie all the happiness in the world. My neighbors are getting married today.
You mean they're not watching the telecast?
They taped it. See, they're getting married today, so
okay.
They're taping it. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's a legitimate excuse.
Dale Earnhardt started that again, moving down, Mike, down the front stretch. I really don't quite understand what that's all about.
Well, if he's going to protect that low groove going into the corner and make Harry go around him, it's going to be real tough for anybody to lap him. See if Doyle Ford has the passing flag out this time.
Saw Harry Gant wiggle a little bit in the middle of that turn. It didn't cost him any time, but his car definitely wiggled.
180 laps to go. 2 more pit stops. Dale Earnhardt just hoping that next flag he sees from Doyle Ford's a yellow one so he can come on around. Tommy Ellis ahead and Ted Musgrave of the lead battle. Mark Martin trying to stick the nose back under, but Harry's not leaving him any room.
Harry got a little bit wide, and Mark was going to try to take advantage of it, but Harry quickly recovered it and turned back down towards the bottom.
Turn 2.
You know, this is just about the part of the race that you reach in your extra bag of help here and say, how bad do you want to win? Because right now the seat's a little uncomfortable, the floorboard's a little hotter, the air seems a little more stagnant, and that's where you find your winners.
Harry got down to the inside, but Earnhardt drove it in the corner extra hard to beat him down in the turn.
I want to show you next time they come out of turn 4. Look at the top right of the screen near the Union Ball. See that white line that runs down the screen, the scoring line? That paint is only worn off right near the bottom of the racetrack. And that shows you just how narrow the racing groove is. That's all of the track they're using. We'll see it again when they come off the corner out of turn number 4. They lap past Ted Musgrave and Kenny Wallace. And here's that white stripe coming in from the left side of the screen. And that's all it's worn, is right down there at the bottom of the racetrack.
That's amazing. This is the first race ever at Dover, Mike, where you haven't seen cars running 3 and 4 grooves up from the bottom of the racetrack.
Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Well, with all the wonderment about what Dale Earnhardt is doing, I went down to NASCAR on the Richard Childress. He looked at me and said, Glenn, I don't know. He said he won't talk to us on the radio now, so we don't know what he's doing. I have an idea, though, that what he's doing is the car's working real well down low, and he's showing NASCAR that, hey, I'm giving these guys the groove out there. If they want to go by me, let them go by me. He knows full well that they're going to have an awfully tough time making it, so he's just making them run their cars as hard as they can up there in the outer groove where they don't get quite as good a traction. I think he's just playing middle games with them.
And Harry Gant is scratching and clawing his way around Earnhardt the hard way, the highway.
That's the most impressive thing I've seen all day. Harry Gant stayed with him on the outside all the way through the corner in both corners. I tell you what, that shows a lot of muscle there.
Mark Martin having the door open from underneath, trying to slide through.
It might send a little message to Dale Earnhardt if Harry Gant's able to go ahead and make this pass and get in front of him.
Harry sweeps up off the corner. Earnhardt got a little waggly there.
Wicked. Or waggly.
That too. He did them both.
This is one heck of a battle right here.
And Mark's saying, I got it made either way.
Yeah. Harry Gant right now is on the outside that we know is not the fast way around this racetrack, but yet he's able to stay side by side with Dale Earnhardt.
Harry Gant's always been fast on the outside here at Dover. Plus, the neat thing here is they're working in that second groove. And that is going to help somebody, likely Harry Gant, later in this race.
He's got a good run right now coming off the corner.
Yeah, that's the best. Oh, here comes Earnhardt.
Mark won't get up there and try that line. He's staying right downstairs with Earnhardt.
As Buddy said earlier, Harry is probably wearing his tires a little more than those other guys because he's got greener racetrack up above that bottom groove. So now Harry's said, that's enough of that. Let me get back inside here. See if maybe I can get him on the inside.
I think Harry gave him a little chrome horn then.
And I'll tell you who's staying right with him is Ted Musgrave, the rookie point leader in DJ Ulrich's car, having a super run here today. 3 laps off the pace. We're 3:29 complete of 500 at the Monster Mile. Harry Gant is trying to tame it with Mark Martin, Ken Schrader, Ernie Irvan, and Dale Earnhardt. We'll be back after this. Harry Gant worked that high groove in, and now Mark Martin's going to try it. Gant has put Earnhardt a lap down, but Martin is unable to follow him through.
Yeah, but Harry Gant is just long gone. He's almost full straightaway ahead of Earnhardt. I just wonder if Earnhardt may be having a little tire problem again.
Mark Martin working up the top side for the last 10 laps. The daily paper here in Dover isn't too thick. I mean, it's not the New York Times, but you couldn't have slid it between Gant and Earnhardt there. And it was 10 laps of just clean side-by-side racing.
I'm going to tell you, Mike, it was a textbook pass by Harry Gant. He worked him on the outside, worked him on the outside. He got a run at him coming off turn 4. Earnhardt got a little bit sideways, and he just drove away.
You know, you hear so much about Earnhardt being dirty and doing things to people. This shows you that he's not that type of race car driver. He is a hard-nosed competitor, but he don't just run over people.
No, he gave Harry all the room in the world to pass him on the outside, and Harry finally made it work. Well, now Mark Martin's got to be concerned with Kenny Schrader. Second place is at stake here, and Schrader is saying, Mark, you spent too much time upstairs. He says, I'm going in the cellar window.
4 cars moved in there, too.
Ernie Irvan coming up. There's Irvan, top of the screen. And Mark Martin is smoking him up there in the high groove. Ooh, too high, way too high. And there's Irvan right with Mark Martin. Ted Musgrave's getting himself a heck of an education right here.
He's got an eyeful out the front windshield.
And he is running quite well.
I'd say after that slip that Mark Martin just made, it took him all the way down the backstretch to get his breath back.
There's Schrader driving around the outside of Earnhardt. Now we've got 2 grooves on this racetrack now.
Thanks to Harry Gant.
No one surprised.
I tell you, Ken Schrader sat behind there, watched Harry Gant work Dale Earnhardt, watched Mark Martin work Dale Earnhardt. He come up, he had cool tires, and the first time he got on the outside, he just drove by.
Bill Elliott made a pit stop at lap 340. And these would-be scheduled stops beginning a little early, but we should see everybody in within the next 20 or so.
4 cars is flying.
Ernie Irvan right up on Earnhardt now. As they work Rusty Wallace. Wallace is a lap down.
You know what the deal is right now? Just what he said just a second ago. They've raced so hard now. The guys that race lap after lap after lap, their tires are used up more. And Ernie Irvan looks like he's just flying, you know, catching them up. And if you notice, Schrader's pulled away quite away from Earnhardt now, too. And he never had to battle to get by.
I tell you, buddy, you know, it's been, what, 10 laps since Harry Gant passed Dale Earnhardt, maybe less?
Yeah.
Right now, he has a 4.2-second lead on the second-place car of Ken Schrader.
Let's check in with Glenn Jarrett.
Well, guys, you know, there's a lot of head scratching and grumbling going on down here in Mark Martin's pit. they don't really know what's going on. Why that Earnhardt would let Gant and Schrader go so easily and race Mark so hard. I asked Robin Pemberton if Mark was saying anything about that. Robin shook his head, grinned a little bit, and then he said, yeah, he is, but he's not very happy about it. So they really don't know what's going on. Earnhardt's still running that bottom group. Mark just simply wasn't able to get by him, but it doesn't look like that Earnhardt extended the same courtesy to Martin that he did to Gant and Schrader. We really don't know what's going on. And I checked with Richard Childress again also. He said that Dale Earnhardt hadn't talked to him in about the last 50, 60 laps on the radio since he's been out after this last pit stop. So they're not sure what's going on either. Kind of a mystery.
Well, it's not a mystery to me. Everybody that went up there raced hard. He hadn't raced him as hard. He's just not running as hard on the outside groove and didn't take the chances that Harry Gant and the other guys took to get by.
Mark Martin has now passed Dale Earnhardt, but he's back in 4th place as Alan Kulwicki makes a pit stop. Wagner, the folks that make power painting not just a whole lot faster, but a whole lot easier. Now bring you this standings of the field. They're the first 5 cars on the lead lap. Here's a group of cars 1 or more laps down. Alan Kulwicki pitting at lap 345 with the Hooters Ford. Ernie Irvin has moved under Rusty Wallace and now shoots off looking for Ken Schrader. Harry Gant out front. At lap 345, you saw Richard Petty there for an instant peel down to pit lane. Gant's lead, 4.2 seconds.
You see what I'm talking about. I mean, Mark's ahead of him now. He went ahead and made the extra effort to pass Earnhardt. He's not trying to hold him up over anybody else. He races the same way with everybody.
Hard.
Very hard.
You suppose he was laughing or frowning running Harry Gant side by side like that for 10 laps?
Dale Earnhardt smiles a lot if he's got you in a bad situation. He's got a little bit of gremlin in him.
Yep. And he did then, but Gant has passed him and gone on now to lead here at 347 laps. Kenny Schrader in 2nd, Ernie Irvin in 3rd, Mark Martin in 4th, Dale Earnhardt in 5th. We'll be back to Dover Downs in a minute. You're watching Chad Little's car, which just erupted in plumes of smoke in turns 3 and 4 to bring us under the 4th caution flag of the day. Have another look at it. From turn number 1, or rather, there is Little's car just starting to go.
Turn number 3. I'll tell you, Buddy and I were talking. I've never seen that much smoke out of a car that blew an engine.
You see Hut Strickler turn down there? I guarantee you he thought the end of the earth had just come. I'd never seen one blow up quite like that myself. I mean, that was enough smoke for 10 cars.
An oil line at least letting loose. The car catching fire on pit road. Now, here's Harry Gant. On the first lap of caution, Ernie Irvin came in. Harry did not. Here's Steve Evans.
Well, apparently there's a problem in the Harry Gant pits. Andy Pitcher, the crew chief, was furious as to why Harry didn't come in. Apparently they didn't allow him to come in for some unknown reason. We're trying to get word with the NASCAR official who's down here. The noise level, as you can hear right now, is a little bit too intense. But this crew was very unhappy with something that prevented Harry Gant from coming into the pits when he wanted to.
And I think we can tell you what it was.
I think, Mike, what happened was the pit road, when Harry came by, he was the leader of the race. The flag man was holding the red flag with a yellow cross saying that pit road was closed. And then obviously, after Harry went by, they must have opened pit road for the rest of the field to come in.
Just at the head end of pit road, down past turn number 4, there is a flag man standing with a flag that tells you when pit road is open and when it is closed. Here's Brock Yates.
Well, there you see Richard Braun, the crew chief of Kenny Schrader. I just talked to him. They had a 20.9 second pit stop. Very routine. No problems whatsoever. Tire wear good. And Richard said, Kenny says things are just perfect out there. So he got the break that Harry did not get, Mike.
Andy Petrie not happy and going to talk about it with Pete Babb, one of the senior NASCAR officials. And so Harry Gant is coming back in for service once again. Now, the flag man that indicates when pit road is open and closed has to be in a position of safety. But where he is, the position where he's at when the pit sign changed from pit road closed to pit road green, might have been after Harry had gone past too far to be able to see that.
Most people don't realize how serious a problem that is for Harry, though. I mean, track position here is very important.
So Harry Gant, instead of coming out with the lead, will be at the tail end of the lead lap in 4th position. And that discussion is still going on in the pit lane.
I've got a good... They may let him go back up to the front. It would only be fair. I mean, the flagman had the red flag out and wouldn't let him in the pits, and then they let the other cars come in. That's just not right.
Maybe we can get somebody down there, Mike, to see what what happened and why. Ask Andy Petrie why he could not get in the pits the first lap.
Here's Steve Evans.
When Harry Gant came in here for that second stop under this yellow, he was furious. He was pointing out the window at a NASCAR official. Andy, any kind of restitution, any kind of adjustment they could make on that?
Nope. They didn't give Harry the green flag when he went by the pit road. They put it on everybody behind him.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
And that's as we said. So Gant is coming down pit road again.
To add insult to injury, he's got a stop-and-go penalty because when he left the pits the second time, he went above the blend line.
I'm just waiting to see if he takes a bite out of the pit wall there, because I tell you what, that is aggravating.
He'll be the last car on the lead lap when we go back under green.
Right there is the blend line, Mike. The white line we keep talking about, the cars racing down right to the white line. Well, that's the blend line. The cars have to stay below that white line when they leave the pits until they get over to turn 2. Harry obviously must have went above it.
Harry trying to scoot back up into position with the other cars on the lead lap. And
I think he won't be able to get out of the way so he can get back up first.
I don't think he's going to be able to get there.
Oh, yeah, he'll get there.
Let's have another look at the pit stop. There on Harry Gant. And trying to get him out there. One of Ricky Rutt's tires out there. Just gives a little nudge and goes. We're back under green. 355 laps. And Harry Gant is back there, well back behind the other cars in the lead lap in 4th lane.
And hot. I guarantee you, I'd hate to be in front of him right now if I was a lap car and got in his way.
And it's not just 111 degrees in that car.
I'll tell you, Mike, Harry Gant is one of the coolest customers in the business, so you very rarely see Harry Gant lose his temper. But, I mean, I'm sure he's tested right now because he's as mad as he's been in a long time right now.
There's Gant moving up on Morgan Shepherd. You can see Ernie Irvin well ahead of him in the 3rd place car.
They shouldn't have made him mad. I'm telling you, he's coming through there like
the man possessed. Richard Petty just made another stop. We should point out that green flag stops had begun when this caution came out, and that cost Alan Kulwicki, Bill Elliott, Sterling Marlin, and Richard Petty a lap because they had stopped under green. And then the caution came out and everybody else came in. Kenny Schrader way up high. There goes Irvin underneath. And there goes 2nd place.
Harry Gant.
You don't want to be in Harry Gant's way right now, Mike.
I think Schrader just moved up.
Ernie Irvin becomes the 9th different leader today. Mark Martin now to 2nd, and Schrader dropped to 3rd.
Schrader's the 4th. Harry Gant's the 3rd. Not for long, though. Harry Gant will be in 2nd here momentarily.
Who'd you cheer for when you were a kid, Bill?
I liked Glenn Jarrett would like this. I like Ned Jarrett.
Yeah.
And I like Fireball Roberts. And obviously I pulled for my brother Benny. But I liked them all.
You want to know who I like, though? My dad, of course. Buck Baker. Yeah, and Fireball Roberts.
Here comes Harry.
Yeah, Harry definitely will lose there. We'll find out how good the 6th car is, too. They'd like to find somebody, didn't they? No, that's just passing.
Now let's update you on Earnhardt. He got out in front of this skirmish for the lead. So once again, he is on the tail end of the lead lap.
Along with Hut Strickland. Hut Strickland is also in front of the leader. So if a caution came out right now, we would have Dale Earnhardt and Hut Strickland back in the lead lap.
I got to say this. Hut Strickland has been one of the fastest cars all day long. How he lost that lap, I don't know. But I can tell you one thing. he's giving Earnhardt all he can stand right now.
He lost that lap because on his second set of tires, he wasn't nearly as good as Earnhardt when Earnhardt was carving up the field.
Yeah,
and
that's
Earnhardt
all
put him
it
a lap
takes
down.
is one bad set. You know the funny part about that, you say a bad set, it might only be like not even a tenth a lap. But that little bit, 100 miles, is quite a thing.
And Mike, when we talk about a bad set of tires, you know, the tires are not bad. They're just not sized like your car wants them. In other words, you run stagger, and we've shown that time and time again. You'll have the right side tires bigger than the left side tires. And when your stagger is mismatched, then your car does not run as fast as it did before. So that's what happened to Hut Strickland.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the tires. It's just a matchup of what's on the car. Brock Yates?
Well, Mike essentially the same thing happened there on Kenny Schrader. Richard Broom just told me that they went from a set of what he calls stickers, which are brand new, fresh tires, to scuffs, which are used run in a little bit, and it's tightened the race car up. So that, as you say, these tire changes and tire choices are absolutely critical. And right now, it's hurting Kenny Schrader a little bit.
Schrader just moved under Rusty Wallace. Wallace is now, again, 2 laps down.
Okay, that's an instance, Mike. Rusty Wallace has run hard all day long. He had an unscheduled pit stop, and again, when Dale Earnhardt, as you mentioned, was carving up the field, he got another lap down. He's been 2 laps down, and he has run his tail off all day.
Who hasn't? That's true. That's true. Sizing up tires in the Harry Gant pit. Or rather, Kenny Schrader's pit. There are your leaders. Just up ahead of them, Dale Earnhardt and Hut Strickland are taking off. But this is the battle for first, second, and third. At 365 laps, Ernie Irvin's the race leader. Mark Martin is second. Harry Gant is third. Fourth is Kenny Schrader. Fifth is Dale Earnhardt. And sixth is Hut Strickland. They're all on the lead lap here in the Budweiser 500 on TNN. At Dover Downs, Ernie Irvin leads Mark Martin and Ken Schrader, but the big story is the battle back for 7th spot.
There he goes.
Trouble in 1, and that's it. It's Jimmy Spencer, who was racing hard against Darrell Waltrip for 7th place. Joe Ruttman shoots through. Morgan Shepherd was part of that battle. We were just about to show you that battle for 7th place, and it was a dandy. Spencer and Waltrip had run side by side and run hard for the last 5 or 6 laps.
I tell you, I happened to be watching that, Mike, because I knew we were going to show it. Darrell Waltrip and Jimmy Spencer were side by side. They went down into turn 1. Darrell Waltrip got by him. Jimmy Spencer tried to move down. Jimmy Spencer tries to move down to get behind Darrell, but Morgan Shepherd's there.
Yeah.
Morgan's right on the bottom. Jimmy Spencer tries to move down behind Darrell, and nothing for Morgan to do. We just got into Jimmy Spencer, turns Jimmy around, and up into the wall he goes.
And Jimmy did a great job of holding that car still in the middle of the racetrack, because he had cars going down under him. And you notice when he gets back over right along here, he releases the brake a little bit and holds that car up. You can see the cars going down behind garage area there.
Joe Ruttman would have nailed him.
If he'd have come down, I mean, he would have really got smacked.
Joe Ruttman would have clocked him. He was right there. Spencer is okay. Taking off the helmet. Let's have a look at it from a different angle.
Yeah, same situation. Jimmy Spencer has just come down the racetrack to try to get in behind Darrell Waltrip, but Morgan Shepherd was there. Morgan did a heck of a job keeping his car under control.
Spencer's first start, June '89 at Dover. And this will put Dale Earnhardt and Hut Strickland back on the lead lap. Lap 372, and the lead cars are on pit road. 5th caution of the day. Here comes Gant down the pit lane as Earnhardt's crew is still working. Took Dale a long time to come around and get on the pit lane. Taking their time putting 4 tires in the car.
We've got a new race now, Mike.
And here's Hut Strickland. He's going to get a spot on Mark Martin. Jimmy Spencer looks to be okay. Hops in for the mandatory ride to the care center.
You know, Ken Schrader did not come in the pits that time. I don't know what the situation was there. He was eligible to pit. Now he's going to peel off the racetrack and come in the pits. I don't know if it's the same thing happened to Harry again, but he wasn't leading the race.
Let me ask you this. Is there a penalty for leading? I wonder.
Here's Brock Yates.
Okay, Mike, I'm down here with Richard Broom. He's jumping back up on top here. We'll see if we can get a word. They're going to put right-side scuffs on the race car, that's all, and obviously fuel, as Darrell Waltrip almost clipped one of the crewmen. Gets back underway. Richard, you didn't choose to stop on the first go-round. Okay. Why did you not come in the first lap?
Well, we didn't think the leaders was going to come, but the leaders did come, so it forced us to come in.
Okay, there was a gamble that Kenny Schrader missed out. He benefited on the Gann incident and obviously paid a penalty on this one, Mike.
Well, the gospel according to Buddy Baker is when the caution comes out,
come in.
Let that paper fly.
Yes.
When he says let the paper fly, he's talking about the paper on brand new tires.
The stickers.
Right.
Or even scuffs. In this case, scuff tires, the same difference.
A lot of work for Travis Carter and the team.
Yeah, and that's a shame. He was really running well.
They had a string of 4 top 10 finishes in a row earlier, just prior to Charlotte. The wall doesn't move.
Did you see how far the rear end housing was moved over in that car?
Well, you saw why. Look how thick that wall is.
Listen, I promise you, that's a boilerplate wall backed up by the state of Delaware. There is no such thing as hurting that wall.
No. Rick Mast going back into action. 374 complete, 126 laps left to run here. Gant is the leader. As you watch Tommy Ellis. Ernie Irvin in second, Dale Earnhardt in third. Hunt Strickland in fourth, Mark Martin now in fifth. Having a look at Tommy Ellis in the Flossie Johnson Budweiser car. When that team unloaded for the weekend on Friday, Steve Evans was there to talk with them.
Last week at Charlotte was the first time in over 530 races there was not a number 11 Junior Johnson car in the garage area. This is the second week here at Dover, and I got to tell you, the feeling is pretty weird. I mean, there sits the pretty red Thunderbird Budweiser livery. The number 97, well, that's the number NASCAR assigned to the new team owner, Flossie Johnson. There's no Tim Brewer, the crew chief, not even Jeff Bodine, who's out for injury reasons, and obviously no Junior. But Mike Hill, you're kind of co-crew chiefing on this guy. How you guys holding up?
We're doing real good, Steve. Well, matter of fact, we may have a shot at sitting on the pole here at Dover. If everything goes right and we catch a cloud, we're going to be all right.
Do you talk to Junior at all via phone or anything?
He comes in off the farm. He's been plowing his garden all this week, and he'll check on us, make sure we're doing all right.
No cellular phone in the pits?
No, Junior's, he's elected to stay at home, this whole deal.
Thanks a lot and good luck.
Thank you.
You know, I asked one of the Budweiser PR people if Junior would watch our show. He said probably not. He told me he was bringing in the hay.
Junior, we miss you. Well, a lot of folks here do. He's done so much for this sport and for a lot of the people in it. That is Darrell Waltrip's toolbox. Missing Junior and Flossie back home in Rhonda, North Carolina. Wish they were here, but rules are rules. Glenn Jarrett.
Well, the guy you're looking at right now is known as Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer, driver of the car number 98 Banquet Foods Chevrolet. Jimmy got awfully exciting out there. What happened?
Oh, I just got run up underneath somebody. Somebody hit me and turned me around. Just racing, you know. I hit the wall in the beginning of the race and knocked the toe end out and knocked the rear end out of square. And we just were riding around there, you know. It wasn't running that bad. We were about 1 lap down and felt that we could have brought the car home still in the top 10. But, you know, we got put in the wall. But that's racing, as they say.
Well, you look awfully hot. What's it like in the race car out there today?
It's hot out there, you know, and the racetrack's really, really a mess. It's got a lot of I guess, build up. You know, when they sealed the racetrack, it's got a lot of marbles, and that's what I got into. And I should have been able to stop my race car, and I couldn't because of that build-up. But, you know, it's not that bad out there. I think that if I didn't do what I did in the beginning of the race, it would have been a factor.
Well, this guy's been running awfully strong of late. I think you're going to see great things out of him the rest of this year.
It was a good run for Spencer today. Now, all those marbles up the racetrack, usually they'd all be clustered up by the wall, but since they're only running that bottom groove, they're everywhere on up. 376 laps are in the book here at Dover Downs. Harry Gant, the race leader. Fans get a little bit of break from the action as we're under caution for the 5th time today. Harry Gant leading under the caution flag. Irvin, Earnhardt, Strickland, Mark Martin, and Kenny Schrader on the lead lap. Back in a minute. TNN Motorsports coverage of the Budweiser 500 is brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? We're getting ready to go back to green at lap 378 with 6 cars now on the lead lap. Harry Gant up front on the outside. Ernie Irvin right with him. Dale Earnhardt, Huck Strickland, Mark Martin, and Kenny Schrader to duke this one out for the next 120 laps. Didn't look like Huck got the best start. He's way up high. Mark Martin gets underneath it. Gant and Irvin out front. Then Earnhardt wrestling with Darrell Waltrip, who's 1 lap down.
I think the 12 car may have had a little bit of buildup on the tires. That's what it looked like. When he went down in the corner, you pick up so much rubber and stuff on the tires that it just won't cut when you go in. And he didn't shake the steering wheel back and forth and wear it out.
Same problem for him up at turn 2. And Huck Strickland drops to the tail end of the lead lap. Irvin and Gant now trading the lead back and forth. That's Bobby Hamilton, the yellow car, the Country Time Lemonade Olds. Running right with the leaders, but Hamilton is 4 laps back.
I've seen 2 or 3 cars take off up the racetrack. There might be a little bit of fluid left from Jimmy Spencer's car from where he hit the wall or something over there. That's the 3rd car I've seen him push up the racetrack.
You're right, buddy. Huck Strickland did it 2 laps in a row, but yet he looked okay in turns 3 and 4. So I think you're right.
And each time he came into that first turn on the outside. Earnhardt behind Bobby Hamilton. That lap car separating him from Harry Gant, then Waltrip, and then a ways back to Mark Martin. Darrell Waltrip getting right with the program. He was up 1 car back from the front on the restart, couldn't capitalize and get his lap back. 1 lap down, Waltrip, Morgan Shepherd. 2 laps back, Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, and Terry Labonte. 3 laps down, Derek Cope. 4 back, Bobby Hamilton, Alan Kulwicki, and Sterling Marlin.
This thing's just about ready to get exciting again. I see Earnhardt moving right back up on Gant. This thing's going to get real exciting here in just a moment.
There's a look at Schrader with Rusty Wallace separating he and Huck Strickland. First and second, there's the separation. Irvin to Gant. And Earnhardt's coming right behind Harry Gant. Waltrip with him. Then Mark Martin. They blew past the Bobby Hamilton car.
Darrell Waltrip's able to hang right with Dale Earnhardt right now, Mike.
He's got his car about the way he wants it, I think. If he'd been stronger the first part of the race. But he got caught a lap down, as everybody did. With the charge of Dale Earnhardt in the first 150, 200 miles.
That's an amazing statistic right there, Mike. The only race he did not finish was this race last year.
Darrell's right with him. And Earnhardt is one of the quicker cars on the racetrack right now.
You know, that wouldn't be such a great statistic if you didn't drive like Dale Earnhardt did. I mean, how do you build a car that'll put up with that week in and week out that many times?
Gant in second. Earnhardt third. Mark Martin fourth. Kenny Schrader. And Huck Strickland is back up to speed. He's not falling back any further, but he is almost a straightaway behind the leader before gathering back in the Bobby Allison car, the Ray Vestas Buick. Strickland running right with Rusty Wallace. Wallace 2 laps back, and Morgan Shepherd, who is 1 down. Bill Elliott running right behind Strickland. Has not had the best day. He is 5 laps off the pace. 1 of those laps lost due to a pit stop that came just before a caution flag. Hasn't been a great day in the Elliott camp. Hasn't been a great season.
I tell you, when you make a pit stop like that, Mike, you can also lose 2 laps. If you're like, say, if you're a third of a lap from being lapped, and then you make a pit stop, well, the leader will pass you for that 1 lap and then pass you again,
And if the caution comes out before that leader comes in, then that puts you 2 laps down, when really a pit stop only takes about a lap, just a little bit over a lap. So likely that's where 2 of the 5 Elliott laps went.
I'll tell you, Earnhardt showing a, I don't know, maybe they made some chassis adjustments on that last pit stop, but he seems to have things going his way right now. He's moved right in on Harry Gant. Of course, that corner didn't show it, but he moved right up on Harry Gant. He seems to be the fastest car out there right now.
Earnhardt closing in on second place. Here's Steve Evans.
Phil Price has mentioned stagger a little earlier on, running bigger circumference tires on the right side of the car to help it turn left. Well, that's a real luxury for these teams and something they've only had, well, twice this year. Here at Dover being the second time. These are bias ply tires. Goodyear does not use them all that often. They are cooked in molds that tend to come out in slightly different sizes, but you do have stagger possible. When they bring the radial tires, they are so perfectly manufactured, they are all the same size.
The laps being turned right now are the quickest of the day, 25.5-second range, faster even than at the start of the race.
Yeah, there's a lot of cars wish they'd have qualified that well, I'm telling you. But that happens on a sealant track. When you start burning the sealant off and the tires get a better grip, then you start running faster.
Ernie Irvan, the race leader, Harry Gant running just about 1 second back. And Gant's picked up a little distance on Earnhardt.
We saw just 2 or 3 laps ago that Earnhardt was right on Harry's back bumper, but now Harry's got about 6-8 car lengths on him.
This won't make any sense to anybody but a race car driver, but Darrell Waltrip is running real close on the back of Earnhardt's car, and he drops back going in the corner, and that makes the car in front push a little bit. He's got a definite push in the car.
Ernie Irvan, the class of this field so far, still looking for his first top 5 finish in the races he's run here at Dover Downs. Coming up on Kenny Wallace in the Kyle Petty car. Ernie Irvan, his best finish here, 7th 1 year ago. 105 miles left to race on the Monster here in Delaware, with Irvan leading Gant, Earnhardt, Martin, Schrader, and Strickland. TNN coverage continues right after this. There might be a sale on Intimidator T-shirts at the Dale Earnhardt booth after this race. Darrell Waltrip's just driven underneath and around Earnhardt, although they are not racing for position. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Richard Jarrett and Bill had to fight long and hard to get that thing back in the lead.
I love that.
The track's gotten tighter on us about all day long, and we just hadn't been able to get the car freed up for the track. As it wears the sealer off the racetrack, it's just gotten tighter.
Are you going to be able to make those adjustments?
What?
Will you be able to make those adjustments?
We get another caution we can.
Wreck on the back.
Okay. Trouble in turn number 2. Derek Cope's car, the defending champion of this race, has been bitten by the Monster and spun to the inside. Now, Ernie Irvan is leading Harry Gant back around to the finish. Here comes Waltrip into the picture, trying to get a lap back. Darrell is hustling it hard, but he's going to fall short. And will hold with 6 cars on the lead lap. Caution is out, lap 404, 6th time today for Derek Cope.
I see Derek, he's already taken the, you can see his hands moving inside the car. He's already taken his window net down, so I think Derek's probably okay.
Let's have another look at it.
Had a good year at Dover last year.
Yeah, that turn 2 has bitten several drivers. Top of your screen, there he goes.
He's already sideways. He backs up into the outside wall, and that just, as we've talked earlier, the bank just sends him back down into the inside wall.
Oh, and here comes traffic. Tommy Ellis, Rick Mast.
See, as Buddy said earlier, he let off the brake to go ahead and get out of the way, so that kept Tommy Ellis, Rick Mast, and Bobby Hillen from being in trouble. We have another view of it, Buddy.
Oh, boy. I tell you, he clouded the outside wall there. You can't hit much harder than that on the outside. Look at that car. The damage on that thing is unbelievable. But he was smart enough to get out of the way and let the brake off. That inside wall won't hurt you nearly as bad as the oncoming race car.
Bob Whitcomb owns that car. His son Greg resigned this weekend as team manager to pursue a career as a professional golfer. He's going to go run the Hogan Tour down in Florida and hopes to qualify for his PGA card for next year, and we wish him luck. Pit stops. Now this will be tricky. 95 laps to go. This may be the last stop of the day.
But it's stretching. Most cars hadn't been able to go that far.
A race off pit road. Well, it's either Irvin or Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt beat him to the white line, Mike.
And that's part of champion's choice. The Winston Cup champion has his first choice of pit position. Richard Childress always chooses the last pit down the road, and that's why. All Earnhardt has to do is pop over the line ahead of the other car, and that's how they're lined up.
That's right. He doesn't have to be at speed. As long as he gets his nose of his car to that white line, he could be running 5 miles an hour, and the rest of the guys running 40, and he still beats them.
Here's Steve Evans.
You know, most race car drivers' sons yearn to follow in their father's footsteps and drive as fast as they can at places like the Monster Mile. Well, Rick Mass' young son, Ricky, he wants to be a starter. And to every race, he brings his flag. And he gets right opposite the flag stand, and whatever flag he sees, he waves over here just to get into practice. Wave your caution flag for me, Ricky. All right, let me see a passing flag. You got a passing flag? That's the one your dad never sees. Huh? Okay, let's go down to Brock.
Mike, I'm with Tony Glover, the crew chief on Ernie Irvin's car, and you put 4 fresh tires on. Can you do the distance? That's the big question now. 95 laps left. You're going to stretch it. Will you have to stop again?
No, we can't make a distance. We'll have to stop one more time. This is the first time today we put on brand new tires. We've been using scuffs all day. We didn't have any more, so we're going to try a set of stickers. We've not tried them all day, so we'll have to see what happens.
Been running real strong. The guys are getting you some really quick laps just before that caution.
Yeah, right now they're running the fastest they've run all day, and you know, Ernie and Harry are putting on a real good race, and I don't know. We'll see what happens.
One more stop just for a splash of fuel. Is that the plan?
Well, right now it's the plan, but who knows?
That's what Winston Cup racing's all about. Mike?
94 miles to go, and we'll see who will gamble. And gentlemen along the pits, that's something we'll want to know. Who thinks they can go the distance? Who's willing to roll the dice? 406 miles complete, 94 to go as the Monster Mile bites Derek Cope and causes our 6th caution flag of the day. Those 5 cars are on the lead lap, along with Hut Strickland. We'll be right back. At Dover Downs, Delaware, 408 laps are complete. 6th caution of the day out for Derek Cope's crash at turn number 2. And this crowd, they paid for seats, but they haven't sat down much today. A pretty good 500 here at Dover Downs. We're going to update you on where your favorite driver is running in the field as Wagner. Folks who make power painting not just a whole lot faster, but a whole lot better. Bring you this field standings update. Hut Strickland, he's the last of the cars on the lead lap. 1 lap down, Walter and Shepard. 2 laps back, Ricky Rudd.
Terry, we haven't talked much about Terry Labonte. We just saw him go by in 10th position. He's 2 laps down, but he's had a pretty good run today.
Had a lot of tough luck yesterday driving his brother's car in the Budweiser 200. Sterling Marlin there 4 laps back. Ted Musgrave is 5 laps down, but he's the leading rookie, racing against Richard Petty today. Bobby Hillen in the Jimmy Means car going to be posted 6 laps down, as is Rick Mass. Dave Marcus is down 10. Kenny Wallace 15 laps behind. 27 cars still running of the 35 that started. Here's Steve Evans.
All right, with 91 laps to go, the big question is, who can make it to the finish? What about Harry Gant, Andy?
Well, you know, I don't think we can make it from here. We'll probably just stop and top off here when we get 1 to go. And I think, you know, right now it's 90 to go. I think we'll be safe from here on.
Okay, let's go down to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, last year at this race, Derek Cope met with great success. Today, he met the wall with great force. What happened out there?
Well, we got to change the tires. The car was a little loose getting in the corner on that set of tires, and I just hit one of those seams that cracks in the racetrack. All the rubber built up on it. The car got sideways, and I fought it, but I just couldn't get the Pure Layer Chevrolet on the wall.
Looks like the track conditions making it awfully tough to race 500 miles out there right now.
It's awful tough out there. You just got to battle it all day long.
You are okay, though.
I'm fine, thanks.
Derek Cope sliding off the outside wall and into the inside. The back of that car pretty well used up, and it gets used a little more.
That was just a heck of a move. Now, he sacrificed a little bit of the back of the car, which it was already damaged, but he kept those other cars from getting into trouble by letting the brakes off and hitting that inside wall. Good move.
I want to mention the passing of longtime NASCAR race official Leo Waters. He was the chief steward up at Stafford Motor Speedway in Connecticut. Had a lot to do with modified and late model sportsmen racing up in New England. Lost a bout with cancer, and we'll miss him. 89 laps to go at the Monster Mile. Dale Earnhardt, Ernie Irvan, Harry Gant, Mark Martin, Ken Schrader, and Hut Strickland. Will they stop for gas before we go green? Riding along with Ricky Rudd at 412 laps. You're inside the Tide Chevrolet. As they get 1 lap to go, all the leaders came to pit road and topped off fuel. Davey Allison came in and got fuel and a quick bite to eat, they said. And he's back out there to finish this one. 413 laps complete.
And pulled directly out in front of Sterling Marlin, causing a brief lockup.
You shouldn't eat while you're driving.
That's exactly right. Oh, look at this. 4 deep. 3 deep, brother. Maybe 4.
Darrell Waltrip did not stop among the leaders. He's going to try to get back on the lead lap, anticipating one more caution.
Bad move.
Now, is Morgan Shepherd on the tail end of the lead lap? He is, and Waltrip may be as well.
Did they just not come back in the top off? Or
right.
I mean, they came in on this caution flag.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
I didn't understand that. I thought you meant he didn't take on tires. If he didn't, he'll never get the lap back.
But he didn't come in just now. He came in about 5 laps ago, so he's on the tail end of the lead lap.
You remember, though, he's been running 5 to 8 laps further than anybody else all day long.
So everybody should be able to go the distance. As you and Ricky Rudd go down the front straightaway, going up through the gears, and they jam into turn 1. 85 laps to go. Ken Schrader is out front. Waltrip did not get his lap back, and Morgan Shepherd's about to lose his.
Lap that is.
Earnhardt is right there, coming along on the back bumper of Schrader. That's the race for the lead. Ernie Irvan is there.
Harry Gant was way back in traffic.
Ooh. Boy. Earnhardt had a little piece of the 25 car just there.
And he goes for the lead and gets it in the back straightaway. Whatever Richard Children adjusted on that car, it worked. Earnhardt is back to the front. They may not have any of those shirts left to discount at the end of the day. 84 laps to run. The field can go the distance under green. Schrader right there. Earnhardt, rather Waltrip right there. But on 2 occasions now, unable to get back on the lead lap.
Just caught a shot at Darrell Waltrip's car. He has 4 yellow wheels on that car that you know they came from his brother's car. So a little brotherly love.
That's kind of neat looking. It looks like one of those little Tonka toys or something.
Hot Wheels.
That's it.
Dale Earnhardt, a winner at Richmond and at Martinsville. There's Hut Strickland and Harry Gant battling. But they are almost a straightaway behind. 5th and 6th place.
And there's your 4th place car, Mark Martin, in 6th.
The Folgers Ford running in 4th. Ernie Irvan is in 3rd. All by himself on the racetrack. This pack trying to run him down.
Okay, right now is not the time to hold back, Mike, because you don't know that you're going to get another caution flag. And right now, everyone's planning, I think, on going the rest of the way because they all came in the top off.
You know, I noticed Harry Gant's car. They pull that piece of flapping front valence off of that car. That may hurt him a little bit down the straightaway. Even though it was flapping, it was still there, shielding the tire a little bit. He may have a little bit of lift in this corner there.
2 leaders are tied together. Schrader not giving Earnhardt any breathing room. And now that battle for fourth on back has caught Ernie Irvin. Schrader's going to make a run at Earnhardt here.
He took a look to the inside.
You know, he told his crew chief everything was wonderful.
Here he goes. He's going to reach for that cookie once again.
Looks like Dale Earnhardt's push came back. You know, you ran a few laps when the tires started getting hot. Looks like he's got that little bit of pushback from the turn. If it gets much worse, Ken Schrader will stick his nose up underneath him and we'll have a new leader.
And Schrader will do that too, by the way.
This is like Noah's Ark. Harry Gant's gone past Huck Strickland. They're all 2 by 2 by 2. Here comes Schrader again for the lead on the bottom of the racetrack, and everybody's on their feet. Kenny Schrader back in front.
I just noticed he didn't do like Harry Gant done him a while ago. He didn't stay on that outside very long. He didn't run lap after lap after lap. So his car must just handle right on the bottom of the racetrack.
How did he get under Earnhardt? Earnhardt wasn't leaving any room.
He was pushing up 2 laps in a row. He pushed up over in turn 3 and 4, and Schrader started to get on the inside the first time and got on the inside the second time and got by him.
Bill, I can tell you one thing. Darrell Waltrip was going to make his lap back up. That man gets a lap down this close to the end. He gets a little nervous, and he's running very well now.
It's a great move by Schrader to go to the inside, but, Buddy, how much of being a great race driver is recognizing opportunity?
Well, that's the whole idea. That is the difference. Being able to know when to do it and how to do it, and making them both work at the same time. You know, one try and not knowing what you're going to do can get yourself in a lot of trouble on a racetrack like this.
Well, opportunity knock. Schrader opened the door, delivered the mail. Got underneath Earnhardt and into the lead, and there's Dale pushing up the racetrack once again.
And smoking the tires.
And there's Darrell. Getting hungry.
It looks like Earnhardt's driving in the corner very deep, and that's pushing the car up. You know, he may be better, and I'm not here to second guess him, but if he went in the corner a little bit easier, he may be able to keep the car down better.
I got a theory. It might be the yellow wheel. They run real fast on Michael's car, too.
Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Okay, I talked to Richard Childress about the problem. He indeed does have a push in the car. They have been using scuffed tires all day long. In other words, tires that they had already broken in, and they had them matched up stagger-wise. This time they had to put 2 new ones on there because they had run out of used scuffed tires, and they got the stagger off a little bit, and the car developed a push. There's nothing they can do about it right now except hope for another caution and get back in here and correct that stagger.
Schrader running off from Earnhardt now. Waltrip right there. Dale doesn't have a little brother in his race who has Cup tires for him.
Richard Childress has a lot of friends in this race.
Sir. Yeah, and there are a good number of cars out of the race, 9 or so, that they could get tires from. Here's Steve Evans.
Well, Richard, there's no slacking off now, not with Dale Earnhardt right on Kenny's bumper. See, I have enough gas to go the distance if he runs as hard as he is right now.
Yeah, he can make it all the way. It's going to be a tough deal.
But you wouldn't mind seeing one more caution.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
You wouldn't mind seeing one more caution?
No, I'd like to see a straight race.
Okay, Mike.
Well, they love the setup they've got on the cars. Yesterday, Davey Allison ran out of gas under caution, leading the race with 1 lap to go. And outside the gates here, there was a camper with a big sign, Davey Allison Gas Fund, donate here. There was gas in the tank. Just couldn't get to the pickup, apparently. And Allison finished 6th instead of winning the 200. Ernie Irvin right there in 3rd spot with Mark Martin and Harry Gant. Chevy, Ford, and Oldsmobile trying to reel in Schrader and Earnhardt. There they are, top of the screen. Your front 5 cars all within a straightaway. And Huck Strickland back there, not all that far back. He is in 6th, right where he was when he finished Charlotte last week, a career best for Huck Strickland.
No, actually, Huck Strickland finished 4th at Michigan a couple years ago in an Australian car. It was a fuel mileage deal. He was able to make it, and a lot of people had to stop and pit. He was able to stay out, and he finished 4th.
Irvin and Gant, 3rd and 4th. Mark Martin right there. That Ford hasn't had much since it led for about 60 laps here. But Martin's been able to stay in the chase right with that group of leaders.
I tell you, Dale Earnhardt's driving the wheels off that car. It's not handling the best out here, but he is really wrestling that steering wheel. He's got himself back up here. If Ken Schrader just slips a little bit, it's all over. He'll be right by him.
When life deals you lemons, make lemonade.
That's it.
6 cars on the lead lap. Earnhardt's crew. 1 lap down, Darrell Waltrip and Morgan Shepherd. 2 laps back, Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, Terry Labonte. 4 laps down, Bobby Hamilton in 12th place, Alan Kulwicki, Sterling Marlin, Joe Rutland. And then 5 laps down, Bill Elliott, Richard Petty, Davey Allison, Ted Musgrave, and Tommy Ellis. That's the top 20. 66 laps to run here. Richard Groom wants to see it go caution-free. A couple of these other cars in the lead lap would like to change that handling setup if they could. With Kenny Schrader in the lead. 66 laps to go. His crew looking on. TNN's exclusive live coverage of the Budweiser 500 will continue after these messages. Laps to go at Dover Down. Terry Gant has gone past Ernie Irvin and now closes in on Dale Earnhardt. Terry Labonte has slapped the wall. We stayed under green as Labonte came pit side for service once and now again with the Sunoco car. He drops to 20th position in the running order.
I think Harry Gant must have smelled the roses just a few seconds ago. Buddy, he'd really turned the wick up on that car. He's running Earnhardt right on down, and right now if he can get by Darrell without any problems, I think he's fastest car out there.
I like Harry's chances. If this thing goes green the rest of the way, as Richard Groom is hoping for, Ken Schrader's crew chief, I like Harry Gant's chances because his car has seemed to be the best on the longest of runs.
Gant now in third. Won at Talladega, the Winston 500. Sets him up for that $100,000 bonus from R.J. Reynolds if he can win at Darlington. Here's Brock Yates.
Well, Mike, I'll tell you what, Mike, the Harry Gant's crew is very optimistic. They feel that, just as Buddy said, that car starts to run out here at the closing stage of this race. The race car is running perfectly. Gant is feeling good in the race car, and Andy Petrie just said, as long as the man in the black 3 doesn't give us any problems, he thinks he can run down Schrader.
Well, we've got 56 laps to find that out. Harry Gant's season has been hot and cold. He has the win at Talladega, 2/3, a 4th, and a 5th, and the rest of his finishes have been junk.
What Easter famine for Harry
That's
Gant.
it. We move back to the 4th place battle. Ernie Irvin has Mark Martin closing in on the 4 car. Martin's cars run pretty well all day. Martin has been hot and cold. He's either led the race or he's kind of hung with the lead lap. Either been very quick or just kind of there.
Yep. As Brock was talking, they wondered if Harry Gant would have much trouble with the guy in the black 3. So I can guarantee you the guy in the black 3 is not going to make it easy for Harry Gant to pass. As a matter of fact, the guy in the black 3 is catching leader Ken Schrader again.
And he is really smoking up the asphalt sealer to do it.
The one thing I see is several of the cars are beginning to try to run up high, and it's just not working. Now, I've noticed that the 4 car several times has went down in the corner and almost hit the wall, trying to make it work on the high side.
When you go and hunt for a groove on a racetrack like this, how long before you know if there's another one there?
Well, you know it before you make the move. You'll see a car that's beating you pretty bad, and you'll try it just because he's beating you on the racetrack.
Well, Ken Schrader is working that bottom groove, and here comes Earnhardt. He's just about half a car width higher on the racetrack than the Kodiak Chevrolet of Schrader.
Now, you notice that Harry Gant went high in one corner, and the 4 cars already run him down again. So that's not the place to be. Come down here.
Schrader into the front straightaway at the stripe. Front 4 cars in view. Schrader, Earnhardt, Gant, and Ernie Irvin closing in. Then Mark Martin and Hut Strickland.
Earnhardt's closing fast on Schrader. I don't know whether Schrader's chassis may be loosening enough on him or just what. Have you seen what's happened?
I don't know, but from what we're hearing, most everyone that's having a problem is talking about their car being tight. So Dale Earnhardt's car appeared to be very tight back when Ken Schrader was able to get by him, but now he's chasing Schrader back down. Harry Gant tucked in there behind Dave Marcus. Then Irvin. And Mark Martin, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Hut Strickland still on the lead lap. He's a little further back in 6th spot. 1 lap down, still Darrell Waltrip in 7th, Morgan Shepherd in 8th. 2 laps back, Rusty Wallace and Ricky Rudd. 3 laps down, Bobby Hamilton, Alan Kulwicki, Sterling Marlin, Joe Rutland. 5 down, Bill Elliott, Davey Allison, Richard Petty, Ted Musgrave, Tommy Yellen. Schrader victory at Atlanta, his 3rd Winston Cup career win. 50 miles to go. If this was a Budweiser 450, he would have got his 4th career win. But we know after yesterday, it doesn't matter what happens at 450. 500 is what counts. Or 499.
I can't figure out what's going on here. One car will look like he's really catching somebody a lot, and then all of a sudden he'll be half a straightaway back. I don't know whether they're changing the line on the racetrack or whether the tires are real good and then they get a little bit greasy and you back off and let them catch back up. But something's happening.
We'll check that out and try to get some insight on that for pit road when we come back. 452 miles complete as the sun begins to set. Glare on those windshields. 47 miles of racing to go at Dover Down. 6 cars on the lead lap, another 2 1 lap back in the Budweiser 500. The view from Davey Allison's car, looking at leader Ken Schrader. Schrader and this team have had a season much like Harry Gant. Victory at Atlanta, a 2nd at Rockingham and Charlotte, a 5th place finish in North Wilkesboro, and 2 other top 10s, and the rest of his finishes were well down the list.
He's looking good right now, though, Mike.
Schrader is 41 laps away from the checkered flag. Dale Earnhardt holds on to 2nd place. Let's check in his pit with Glenn Jones.
Well, you know, buddy, you were wondering about some of the problems everyone's having. There's a lot of inconsistency starting tires out here right now. The cars having to go to the bottom groove of the racetrack, the sealer being worn off and so forth, is causing a lot of inconsistent tire wear. Dale Earnhardt's car has loosened up considerably now, almost to the point that it's too loose. So he went from a push at the beginning to being too loose. Mark Martin's car, on the other hand, is way too tight. So all the adjustments they made all during the race to get them to this point, right now, they don't really know where to turn just because of the inconsistency on the surface of the racetrack. It's a battle they're all having to fight. Some of them guessed right, some of them didn't.
Kenny Schrader probably guessed the rightest. With Earnhardt in 2nd, Gant in 3rd, Ernie Irvin in 4th, Mark Martin 5th, and Hut Strickland all on the lead lap. The Flossie Johnson car going 7 down to leader Kenny Schrader.
I'm going to give you something scary to think about. If the yellow come out right now, do you think the leaders would come in with this short a distance to go?
I think they would.
The ones that didn't would lose, I can tell you that.
Yeah. What's Buddy Baker's old adage? If the caution flag waves, pit.
Yep. If the yellow comes out, come in. Right. Back in 3rd place, Harry Gant, who came within about 15 laps of winning yesterday. Let's check down the road toward his pit. Here's Brock Yates.
Okay, Mike, there's trouble here in the Harry Gant pit as far as the handling is concerned as well, buddy. And you guys were talking about how the cars seem to come and go on, and especially the tires, and now this car is tightened up a little bit. The Indy Freak just told me that Harry's talking about the race cars inside. So he was running just perfectly about 10 laps ago, and now his tires seem to be going away on him.
Well, if all these guys go away, Darrell's a lap down. He might have a shot at him.
Well, that's true, and now you know what exactly is happening. The end of the race car, if the back's loose, the right rear is going away, making it looser. If the front's pushing, then the right front's wearing out quicker and making the car chatter up the racetrack. So now at least we know what's going on.
And the whole field is backing up a bit. Let's check with Steve Evans.
Well, Richard Broom, you're the only man in the world that knows what's going on in Kenny Schrader's mind because you have the radio. What is he saying?
Well, he's not talking right now.
What are you saying to him?
I'm just telling him to go ahead and build his lead as far as he can.
So no way you're going to take it easy. Okay, they're looking good. Feeling good.
The time for taking it easy is going to be on the flight home. 34 laps. And how many races at this track have been decided in just 34 laps? Buddy Baker said at the top of the show, you lost one. You were leading the race with how long? How many to go? 4 laps to go. So stick with us for the next 34 as we run to 500 with Kenny Schrader leading Earnhardt, Gant, Irvin, Martin, and Strickland.
The genius is in the details.
TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Budweiser 500 is brought to you by X-Tar Film from Kodak. For advanced photographers, the genius is in the details. Ken Schrader, the leader, Harry Gant in third place, and Ernie Irvin, the Kodak Film Old, or Chevrolet rather, has been closing in on Harry Gant, but now that gap begins to widen again.
Yeah, well, if he's holding anything back, he might as well let it go now, because I'm going to tell you, in 25 laps, there's not enough time to make a decision on what you're going to do. You have to turn it up wide open and let her go.
6 cars on the lead lap, and the lead advantage of Ken Schrader increasing. 2.5 seconds now over Dale Earnhardt.
You know, we sat here and talked about this in the sportsman race yesterday, the Busch Grand National race, and I tell you, we thought the race was over. And folks, you wouldn't believe what happened with 3 laps to go if you didn't get to see it. We seen 3 cars fall out on the next to the last lap.
TNN's going to replay that race toward the end of June, and you folks who didn't get a chance to see it, check your local listing. It was one of the most unbelievable days we've seen in racing.
But I will say this, the eventual winner, Todd Bodine, did a superior job of driving yesterday. Well, congratulations to him today.
Yeah, there are folks in the garage who will say he lucked into it. But as Richard Petty has long said, the best you can do on any particular day is keep your car in a position to win and then hope things go your way.
That's it.
They did.
I'd like to have 4 in a row just like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about 1 in a row just like that, buddy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd just like to win right now.
Kenny Schrader has 24 laps to go. Traffic ahead. He owns 3 Winston Cup victories, all for this Rick Hendrick-owned team.
Look at that crew watching him. You think they're worried a little bit when he gets in a pack of traffic?
I know at least a couple of them are sitting there on the pit wall driving the car. They're former racers themselves.
Well, he seems to have things in hand right at the moment. That can change in 1/2 a lap.
This is a tough pack of traffic he's in. See if Earnhardt can gain some ground here. Schrader moving up against Ricky Rudd. Ricky gives him plenty of room. And then Earnhardt has to pull up first on Alan Kulwicki, then Rick Wilson, then Rudd to have any shot at Schrader.
That'll help Ken Schrader right now, having those 3 or 4 cars. That's got to slow Dale up just a tick. And right now, just a tick is all he needs.
Doesn't it depend a lot on where he catches them?
It really does. If you catch the cars coming off the corner, they'll move over before you just drive by them. If you catch them going in the corner, more than likely you might have to follow them through the corner, and that'll hurt his speed.
Here with Ricky Rudd, Alan Kulwicki just went by the 5 car. That's not for position. Rudd is a couple of laps ahead of Kulwicki. And here's Earnhardt on the outside of Rudd. That's close focus right there. Earnhardt goes by. 480 laps, 20 to go. 6 cars on the lead lap. Still Earnhardt and Morgan Shepherd 1 lap down. Rusty Wallace is on a lap by himself. He's 2 laps back. Ricky Rudd's on a lap by himself, 3 laps down. Bobby Hamilton's all alone, 4 laps behind. Then 5 laps down, Alan Kulwicki is ahead of Sterling Marlin and Joe Rutland and Bill Elliott. That's the top 15. 16th, 6 laps down, Davey Allison. So is Richard Petty and Ted Musgrave. Tommy Ellis is 8 laps off the pace. So is Bobby Hillman and the Jimmy Means car and Rick Mann. 9 laps down is Lake Speed. Spent a bit of time on pit road. Dave Marcus is 11 laps back. Terry Labonte still running after slapping the wall. And Labonte is down 23 laps. And further back, still running, Rick Wilson and Kenny Wallace. Each of those cars a little more than 20 laps down. Harry Gant moving past Ricky Rudd in pursuit of Dale Earnhardt. Front straightaway. Just a little over 2-second advantage right now. It was, when we talked about it before, it was like 2.5. So Dale Earnhardt's picked up a half a second in the last 6 or 8 laps, but that could have a lot to do with traffic and how they caught traffic and how quick they got by traffic. So Dale got through that pack of traffic a little easier than Kenny Schrader.
I think he did too. He really did.
Most of the time, Dale Earnhardt gets through a pack of traffic a little bit better than somebody else does. They see that black car, I mean, that's 2/10 right there.
Next time we get a shot from the in car, give me an idea here. You're starting to get a lot of glare on these windshields, and the sun is coming down low enough over the racetrack. Is that getting to be a big factor?
I don't think so. Not here as much as maybe Atlanta, Georgia, where you drive off into have the sunshine in your face, and all of a sudden the corner just makes it black, when where the sun is going across there, and then it gets shadowy. I knew I'd get it out.
There's that glare out of 3.
I think with daylight savings time, too, that helps a lot, Mike, because obviously the sun's up higher than it would be otherwise.
Move over flag on Kenny Wallace and Bobby Hamilton. And Schrader stepping it out, 2.2 seconds. Alan Kulwicki on pit road. Again, he started in the top 5 6 times on this racetrack. Still looking for first top 5 finish there. They're looking for problems on the right front on Kulwicki's car. Third place, Harry Gant is beginning to close within sight of Dale Earnhardt now. There's Gant. Rick Wilson behind him. Rick Mass, part of that group.
That 33 car is smoking, Mike, and that's not just smoke from the sealer on the racetrack.
Don't say that this close to the end, Phil. That man deserves to finish this race as hard as he's doing that car today.
It sure does, but it's obviously smoking a little bit. Right now, I don't think it's too bad, but if it gets any worse, NASCAR may elect to bring them in.
Let's see if it'll hold up for 12 laps here.
Let's don't say anything, okay? It is smoking, you're right. I think it might be pushing, and he's driving it so hard it's smoking the right front.
It could be. I hope for his case that's what it is.
He said, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
Right. The Schrader crew looking on.
No, that's
Dale
smoke.
Earnhardt.
He's not going to make it either, I'm afraid.
Dale Earnhardt is digging into Schrader's lead.
It's down under a second and a half now, Mike. 1.46 seconds.
Earnhardt sweeps around Bill Elliott entering turn 3. Sterling Marlin making a late pit stop. 11 laps to go. Don't see a lot of emotion out of Earnhardt's crew.
They've seen this movie, Mike.
Yes.
Whatever the problem on a 33 car is, it only does it going in the corner.
Let's find out for Brock Yates.
Well, Mike, I just checked with Andy Petrie. He has no idea what's going on. Harry hasn't said anything on the radio. Apparently, there's no indication on the instrument panel of any problems, but as we all can see, there is smoke, and certainly the Skull Banner crew is concerned.
Into the countdown, 9 laps to go. For Gant to hold on for a fine third-place finish. Kenny Schrader out front, Earnhardt in second, Gant, Ernie Irvin, Mark Martin. That's the front 5. Hut Strickland is 6th, and all of them are on the lead lap. One car real slow, about a 2. That looks like Terry Labonte. He he's going to come to pit road. Had a tense moment up there in 2. We'll stay green with 8 laps left. There's Labonte's car down on the apron as Earnhardt whistles past.
Now have they all figured their fuel mileage right, Mike? Are they all going to make it to the end of the race?
Yes.
I've got to think so, Bill. With that last stop for a splash of gas on the last lap of yellow, lap 413, 87 laps. Everybody here should be able to go 87
One
laps.
thing about it, I've been right on everything I guessed on today. So if I say yes, we'll have 5 more stops before it's over.
When you're right, it's expert analysis, and when you're wrong, you misspoke yourself.
You got it.
Okay.
Ken Schrader stopped 2 laps before the rest of the field. He stopped at lap 411, so he has to go 89 miles.
Pete Scardy there for Kenny Schrader's crew. 6 to go. Terry Labonte gets right side tires, and he's back out.
Before I finish up, I want to thank my dad for giving me the weekend off at Vector Driving School to come up here and work with you guys. It's been fun.
I have to come down there and see if I can learn anything.
I'm sure you could. Now, let's get back to the thing we come up here for.
It's staying about a second and a half, the interval between Ken Schrader and Dale Earnhardt, so he's not gaining on him right now.
And he's got plenty of buffers of lap traffic between himself and Earnhardt. 5 laps to go. May seem like it's over, but anybody who was here yesterday knows that's far from the case. Joe Ruttman right behind Schrader. Ruttman 6 laps back in 12th spot. There's Earnhardt, second place. Gant holding on to 3rd. Have a look for Ernie Irvin's car. Don't believe Ernie's going to be able to close up on Harry Gant. 1.24 seconds first to second. Earnhardt is reeling in Kenny Schrader, but there is little time left. 3 to go. Schrader's crew taking off their headsets, putting things away. Their job, they hope, is done. It's up to the men in those cars right now.
You know, I was watching Gant's car. It looks like he might have brushed somebody and pushed the fender in. It's right in the hardest part of the corner that was broke.
1 second. First to second. Earnhardt is coming at a quarter second a lap. 2 laps to go as they flash by the start-finish line. Earnhardt has Ruttman separating himself from Schrader. Out of turn number 2, 15 car lengths. First to second. Earnhardt dives past Ruttman into the corner. He'll have 1 lap.
That cost him 1/2 a second getting caught behind Joe Ruttman that time.
And Ruttman gave him room. 1 to go. Kenny Schrader out of turn number 2, seeking his 4th Winston Cup victory, all on Super Speedway. Dale Earnhardt into turn number 3, knocks it down to about a dozen car lengths, but it won't be enough. Ken Schrader wins the Budweiser 500. Dale Earnhardt finishes second. Harry Gant is 3rd, and Ernie Irvin holds off Mark Martin by 2 car lengths for 4th. At the line, Waltrip and Shepard were side by side. Well, give it to Darrell.
Ricky Rudd in the 5 car.
Oh, that one. Guys, come on, we went all day and you got me. We had such a good race there. Forgot who that was. That orange car. He's looking putting him in the orange car. Ken Schrader will be going to victory lane. Make no mistake about that. Rick Hendrick, Richard Broom, and the rest of the Kodiak crew with a well-deserved victory. Earnhardt second, Gant 3rd, Irvin 4th, Mark Martin, Hut Strickland 6th for the 2nd week in a row. Darrell Waltrip finishes 7th. Morgan Shepherd is 8th. 9th to Rusty Wallace, and 10th to Ricky Rudd. 11th is Bobby Hamilton. 12th, Joe Ruttman. 13th, Bill Elliott. 14th, Alan Kulwicki, and 15th, Sterling Marlin.
Cold Budweiser would be fine. He'd like a cold Budweiser.
I don't blame either. I'll give him a keg. Steve Evans.
Well, Kenny Schrader joins Dale Earnhardt as the only repeat winner this Winston Cup season. And I'll tell you, I guarantee you, he badly needs some refreshment. on this day. He should be crawling out of the car. It's a mob scene, as you might imagine, here in Winter Circle. He got here very, very quickly. A cold tower. And look at this man, how refreshed he looks as compared to Todd Bodine yesterday, who ran only 200 miles. This is an athlete, a man who spends over 200 days a year in a race car of one kind or another. Kenny Schrader coming out. The winner of the Budweiser 500. If he can get out. He may be a little more tired than I thought. Kenny Schrader. The Cognac beer was just too strong for him today.
I don't know about that, but they put us in a position to win the thing right there at the end, and we'll take it, you know. I can't say enough for guys. This team's come around so much in the last couple of years, and they're just doing a heck of a job.
Wife Ann joining in the victory line. Was there a point where you said, all right, I got him now. This needed to happen for me?
Well, they did the fuel mileage deal. They said, let's get in and get out for everybody else. Earnhardt come up behind me and messed up, let him go by. And I tried to use my head for once, and I followed him for about 6-7 laps, and I saw we were stronger, and I saw where we could get him, and I wanted to get by him one shot and then just take away.
Any question in your mind as to fuel left in the tank at the finish?
No, I'll tell you what, Ken Howes and Jim Wall and all the guys at Hendricks Motorsports, you know, this deal's come around so much this year, and they told me we didn't have to come in and top off that time. I said, guys, it's one spot. We're fifth now. There's 608 left. Let's do it anyway.
I'll say, this is one lady that had her fingers crossed so hard you probably lost the circulation in them.
Well, I'll tell you what, 2 weeks we were the bridesmaid, this week we're the bride, and we're just really excited. And we want to say hi to Dorothy, our little girl in Concord, and Monica, who's taking care of her today.
All right, a fourth career Winston Cup victory. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Okay, we're walking along with Dale Earnhardt. Dale, awfully tough run out there. He came up just a few car lengths short.
Well, we tried them hard, you know. We was lucky to get our lap back, and everything's working pretty good there, but just couldn't catch Kenny. A little strong.
Well, it wasn't because of a lack of effort on anybody's part.
Well, that's true. You know, I'd like to say hi to all the kids back home and wish Kyle Petty a happy birthday. I missed him today.
How was it out there? Real tough at this place for 500 miles.
Well, it's always tough up here, Glenn. And, you know, it's just one of them Dover days. I tickled death finish second. That's last year.
Okay, he's happier this year than last. Let's go to Brock Yates.
Well, Mike came with Ernie Irvin, who was up amongst them all day long and then seemed to go away a little bit on you at the end.
Well, we were running short on fuel. We get real bad gas mileage, and we knew we couldn't make it running hard, so the last 50 laps, I just tried to save fuel the whole time, and it run out on the last lap a lot better than yesterday.
Yeah, at least it got the checkered flag.
That's true. You know, these guys gave me a great car, all the Morgan McClure Racing and Kodak and Chevrolet. And, you know, Chevrolet's finished 1, 2, 3, so I guess can't ask for a better day than that except for the 4 car to be up front.
Ernie, the racetrack seemed to kind of give it to you a little bit, everybody, and then it did take away from you as far as the tires are concerned.
It did. You know, this car ran real fast on scuff tires, and we ran out of those and had to run stickers after that. And we still ran fast on them, but, you know, Schrader come up there at the end, and, you know, he was just the dominant car at the end.
Okay, Ernie, good show. We'll see you down the road. We know there are better days ahead.
There sure is. We keep looking for this Kodak team.
Okay. Mike?
26 cars running at the finish today. That equals the event and all-time Dover track record, matching the 88 and 89 running of this race for most cars running at the finish. We'll have more from Dover Downs International Speedway right after we pause for these messages. We'll get a word with the winning strategist in this 500-mile chase, but first, let's go meet the third-place finisher with Glenn Jarrett.
Well, you're looking at Harry Gant, and, you know, folks, he looks amazingly calm and collected and kind of cool after 500 miles here. Hey, looks like you maybe just came off the golf course for 18 holes instead of 500 miles of racing here.
Well, the car works so good, the Scopan Oldsmobile, you know, and all day long it wasn't any tiring, and the car wasn't very hot inside. It's a good race for us. We just kind of got a tight set of tires on at the last, and just had too much push in it.
All right, earlier in the race there when you were leading and the pit flag was not out, or they didn't open the pit road when you came by, did that have any real bearing or any outcome on things?
Well, they give up track position at the last, but probably not. I don't think so. You know, I think I was getting on Earnhardt there pretty hard. If I could have been a little close to him on the start, maybe, but it's just our mistake. You know, the pit road guy didn't. He had it closed and he opened it real quick, and I'd passed it. So, just our misfortune.
All right, you're one of the oldest drivers in the field out there. I know you've heard this time and time again, but a lot of folks would think a place like this would be tougher on you. You seem to thrive on places like this.
Well, yeah, you know, I don't lay around the house or on the golf course all week, you know, like these younger guys. In the morning, I'm putting roofing on in the morning. I put roofing on 2 days before I come up here. In fact, right to the minute to leave.
put roofing on, so I'm going to be put roofing on tomorrow and Tuesday.
It's not like you need the money.
Well, I just like to do it, you know. It's just a change, and it feels good to get up there in that good 95-degree breeze on the roof rather than this 150 stale there in this race car.
Folks, that's an unusual way to condition yourself, but it works for Harry Gant.
Well, winner Kenny Schrader continues to receive the accolades here in Victory Lane. Before it's over, he'll wear enough hats to probably recede his hairline a little bit further. But I'm with Richard Broom, the crew chief, the man that orchestrated this victory. And it appeared from my vantage point that you ran your race. You didn't let anything dictate to you.
Well, we did. In other words, we just went in it with a strategy that we're going to just, you know, try to cool it there for the first half of the race and then try to run hard in the end. And that's what Kenny done. And I'll tell you, the guy done a super job. I'm ecstatic. I can't say enough about it.
With a lot of race car drivers, the crew chief has to get on the radio and say, now, calm down now. You don't need to be running this hard this early. Do you have to do that with Kenny?
No, Steve, I didn't do anything. I just left him alone, let him do his own deal.
And, you know, there's talk sometimes about all the cars he runs, dirt cars, sprint cars. He'll race on asphalt pavement 200 and some odd days a year. Rick Hendricks has always approved of that, even though he could get hurt, because maybe that's what makes him this judge.
Well, I think it is. He's driven everything, and the guy's just got talent that I can't praise him enough. In other words, he's got a feel for a car, and you know, we've had a rough time the first year that we was together, and you know, I didn't know whether it was going to gel or not, but everything is clicking, and I got one super crew. I just wouldn't trade any member of it.
I tell you, they wouldn't trade you off either. Congratulations again.
Well, thank you. I'm a little emotional about it.
I can tell. You deserve to be. Let's go back up to Mike Joy.
I'll bet there's a tear or two behind those sunglasses on Richard Broom, former drag boat and automobile drag racing champion. There's a look at the point standings. Dale Earnhardt tops the standings, to no one's surprise. Ricky Rudd hanging on to second there. Darrell Waltrip with a good finish here is third. Harry Gant and Ken Schrader up into the top 5. Schrader from 6th a week ago. We'll be back to Dover after this. TNN Motorsports coverage of the Budweiser 500 is being brought to you by Auto Light Spark Plug. Guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. Well, it'll be a big business down at those souvenir trucks this afternoon, and I'm not going to have to discount Dale Earnhardt shirts a dime. He comes back for a fine second-place finish behind Kenny Schrader. In fact, Earnhardt's been in the lead lap in 8 of the 10 races that he's been running at the end of this year. Harry Gant finishing 3rd, Ernie Irvin 4th. Mark Martin now has 5 straight top 5 finishes at this racetrack, with 5th here today. Hut Strickland 6th equals his season's best last week at Charlotte, and also his best from a year ago. Darrell Waltrip just never could get that lap back. Finishes 7th today. Morgan Shepherd, Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, the top 10, helping Rudd stay in 2nd or staying well up in the Winston Cup points. A little further back, Bobby Hamilton ran to an 11th place finish today. Joe Ruttman, Bill Elliott, Alan Kulwicki, Sterling Marlin, the top 15. Davey Allison, Richard Petty ending up in 17th position. Good run for the rookie Ted Musgrave. Bobby Hillman and Rick Bass, kind of a long day. The 26 cars running at the end, tying the race record. And the last car running was Kenny Wallace back in 26th position. From there on back, Derek Cope hit the wall. So did Jimmy Spencer, Chad Little, an engine. Mickey Gibbs, mechanical trouble. J.D. McDuffie crashed. Mike Waltrip, that oil pump problem. Brett Bodine, an engine. Bobby Labonte, engine. And Dale Jarrett crashed out of the race. Here's Brock Yates.
Mike, one of the, I'm sure he's going to be all right, but Richard Petty really did take it hard as far as the heat frustration is concerned. He was very slow getting out of the race car. They administered oxygen to him. Then the paramedics came over and are continuing to treat him with oxygen. The crewmen say he's okay, but obviously everybody concerned that he probably took a bunch more heat than other guys got. And as you well know, Buddy and Phil, sometimes a header can break, or any one of a number of things can happen that cause a race car to get really, really hot inside. And I've noticed that sometimes you never feel it until you stop and actually get out of the car. Then it seems to kind of bubble up inside you, and then you really get hot.
So Richard a little warm, but otherwise okay after a tough 500 miles here at Dover.
Brock, you're exactly right about getting hot and trying to get out of the car. You make it to checker flag, and you can't get anywhere else.
Be a while getting out of traffic here to get home. Record crowd at Dover Downs, and we'll be back with more from the Budweiser 500 right after we take this break on TNN.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Delaware. Now the real race begins. Packing up their picnic baskets and heading home after a big 500 miles of Winston Cup stock car racing. Back in the garage area, things cooling down just a bit. Glenn Jarrett.
Well, here's another guy that looks awfully calm and collected, especially for the kind of day at the office he had. Davey Allison, last week you were unbeatable. This week just wasn't to be.
Well, we just missed something in the setup, Glenn. You know, our Texaco Haviland Thunderbird just drove like terrible all day. I don't know any other way to describe it other than we just couldn't get hooked up to the racetrack. We tried changing some things under those cautions. We put some rubbers and some springs, adjusted on the wedge, and even changed the adjustment on the front sway bar, and we just couldn't get the thing to hook up. And that's the way it goes sometimes. Sometimes you're on and sometimes you're off. The day we were off, and, you know, we can't hardly complain. That's 1 out of 7 that we've been off in, and we've had a shot to win all of the other races up till now. And we'll go to Sears Point next week and try to get everything together for out there and try to beat them on that road course.
Well, there is one bright side to it. This probably put an end to all that controversy about raising the rear deck 3/4 of an inch.
Well, you know, the Chevrolet's got us today, but there's always next week, and we're not going to back off on them. We're going to try to put these Fords in victory lane as much as possible for the rest of the season. But I'd like to say congratulations to my sister today. Carrie graduated from college. They had her graduation party today, and my grandfather's at home watching, and we had a tough day, but we'll go back and get them next week and say hi to Liz and Krista.
Oh. Davey Allison. Looks like he's done counting all the money from Charlotte, some $400-some-thousand over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, he had a good season if he don't do anything
That's
else.
Right. He's already had a good year. Tough day today, but they'll be right back at him next week.